I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now. But now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
You ready?
No!
You ready?
No? How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping.
You're pushing me
I
in.
will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right?
will.
Titties for
I
bitty
will.
steak. Look at that
I
clip.
Oh,
Yeah.
Billy.
Oh my god. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB, hold on.
This
I'll be in
stream.
my bunk.
Like that.
Welcome in, Raiders. There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh, Nuts and Milk. Dick a game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, you know. See, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops of the Creeper. You know, he's got to be in on it. You know.
Right?
Scooby
pop
Doo,
in.
where are you? Oh boy, Scooby Dooby Doo with epic rims.
These are my thumbs. And they dance. Boop, 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 boop. Hey!
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along?" And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio
Yeah.
ever since I met Tim. So I was like, yeah, you know, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, you know, and sold, he called.
I need my calculator for that. What the? Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link. Hello, Movember, and thank you for all the donations.
Hi, Movember!
Thank you so much. Thank you
Hey,
so much.
November.
Oh, shit.
November.
Welcome on in.
We're
I appreciate you.
Novembering
Welcome
today.
in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our
Oh
team.
shit, we have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves
to-
to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to OnlyFans. Huh.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of the
have
prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Abby,
Shenanigans aren't
speak for
suing everyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
Guys, our
so-
team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000. There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in-house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
I just won't bang them, so it's,
Right.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now, but now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different.
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
You ready?
No.
You ready?
No. How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping.
Here, push.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right.
will.
Titties for
I
bitties.
will.
Thank you. Look at that clip.
Oh,
will.
Billy.
Oh my god. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB. Hold on.
The
I'll be in my
stream.
bunk.
Like that.
Welcome in, Raiders. There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I gotta know what Dick and Milk is. Oh, Nuts and Milk. Dick a game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, see, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops to the Creeper. He's got to be in on it.
Right?
Scooby
gotta
Doo,
pop in.
where are you? Oh boy, Scooby Dooby Doo with epic rims.
These are my thumbs. And they dance. Boop, 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 boop. Hey!
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl of their own, but they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along? And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim, so I was like, "Yeah," I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast, and then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called.
I need my calculator for that. What the? Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link. Hello, Movember, and thank you for all the donations.
Hi, Movember!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
November.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our team.
Shit, we have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of
have
the prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Abby,
Shenanigans are
speak for
ensuing, everyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
Guys, our team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000.
Wow.
There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
I just won't bang them, so it's
Right.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
Okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now, but now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different.
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
You ready?
No.
You ready?
No. How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
It's time to start the podcast. It's time to play some games. It's time to have some fun here on the Epic Show tonight.
We'll see some off the pod here, enjoy some great alerts. We'll have a grand old time here watching Epic Rounds tonight. We love it when we come here, we clip all of the screens. The chat gets kind of trolly on Epic Rounds scenes. But that's an awesome part of the Epic family. So let's enjoy the show now and start another hype train. We'll see the spicy chips fly on the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, epicational. This is what we call the Epic Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome on in. to Epic Realms Presents Off the Pod. It's not a podcast, but it's sort of a podcast, but it's not a podcast, sort of podcast, kind of non-podcast, podcasty show. I think that's how it works. Welcome on in, everybody. I am joined by the one and only...
What do you mean? What do you mean by shaking it? What are you doing?
Yep,
what
exactly. I don't know what I mean.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I
What do you
don't know.
mean?
I don't really know. We don't know. This is a show about something that's more than anything Seinfeld would have ever wanted. But welcome on in, everybody. I am joined by the one and only the Namven. He's over here on my left. Thank you for... Thank you, Roddy Mama, not only for the resub, but for the 1 month gifted sub to Namven. This guy right here. How you doing, Namven? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing a lot better now. Thank you. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Doing fantastic. How you been?
I've been good. Been good. It's been a busy couple of weeks for me. It's only getting busier, and I'm so glad to have you here. I know we've got some really cool stuff coming up. We've got the Black Collar Collective AIM Youth Charity coming up on the 26th. You're going to chat with us about that. We're going to do that at the end of the show, everybody. So after we're done with all of our topics, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what Namven's got coming up, some of his stuff going on as well. So it's not even it's not even one of the 4 topics. It gets its own part of the show. So we're going to talk. We got all kinds of stuff to talk about, Namven.
Oh, man.
Some
I
unique
love it.
things. Some unique things that nobody's mentioned. Nobody's ever said, "Hey, let's talk a little bit about baseball." Nobody's ever said that, which is funny because it's America's national pastime, right?
Yeah.
So nobody's ever really talked about it. I'm like, I Minnesota Twins represent. I used to be a huge baseball fan, and I've since lapsed from time to time, but I still like watching games, seeing games, listening to games. So that's something we'll talk about. If you guys don't like any topics, still stick around for the conversations and the fun. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll have fun yourself. Even if you're like, I don't know baseball or like people are like, I don't watch movies. Roddy Mama stuck it out through the movies, through the pop culture movie section when we had Dragon, the gangster movies. So stick around. Who knows? Who knows if you'll have fun or not? We've also got, oh no, it's doing the beeping thing at me again whenever I push the button. We also have Why We Love Music. It's really hard because we had so many things to talk about when it comes to music. We both love music. Obviously, Namven with the pile of guitars behind him. So we're going to talk music, all things music, why we love music, what we like about music, just whatever. It's going to be a music smorgasbord. And I know a lot of you guys have really enjoyed the musical conversations we've had in the past. So those will continue tonight, right here on Epic Realms. Let's hear my computer beep at me again. There it goes. We're going to talk about retro games. We're going to talk about JRPGs, retro games, retro video games. Namven does a lot of that. That is kind of one of the key things on his stream. I enjoy the retro game. I pull up my retro pie from time to time, on stream, off stream, just for my own shits and giggles, of course, because I myself am retro. That's what happens when we get old.
Yeah, it's really tough sometimes, man. You start seeing the birthday candles on the cake get a little bit more every year, and
it's bad when they start to get a little bit less every year. That's when it really starts to get bad. They're like, oh well, we'll just put 3 on there and
Benjamin
call it.
Button.
Yeah. They're like, this stands for these 20 stand for every decade you've been alive. Congratulations.
Hey, what do those candles mean? Don't ask the question. I don't want to answer it.
And of course, we've got potluck. It's anything, everything, whatever we happen to come across. If we've touched on a topic earlier and we want to talk more on it, if we want to just extend a conversation about it, if we want to do more, if you guys bring something up, if something, who knows, we might talk about wrestling during potluck. We found out that we both have another topic in common. So who knows? I mean, I could turn all 4 of these subjects into wrestling and keep you guys entertained for hours, or at least myself, which is,
I'm down.
You're down. Let's go.
I'm down.
Let's
go. I'll talk about anything. You give me talk about what's your favorite, I don't know, pretzel brand. I'll sit there and be like, all right, we go.
Let's talk about the Rosate Spoonbill just for a moment. Just to see how good. No, I'm just
I retract my last statement. I can't talk about that.
No Rosate Spoonbills. Got a personal vendetta against the Rosates. Brennan Lee Mulligan, shout out to you. But welcome on in, everybody. I know Sunstrider was in here early, redeeming some dungeons ahead of schedule. The Tangia dungeons, of course, the Tangia dungeons will be up and available right down here all night long. so you guys can get in on those dungeon battles. I won't be joining them unless I type it in. I won't be able to join in on those Tangia dungeon battles as much, but I will do my best. I don't think I will be calling them out either. And keep an eye yourselves, because the audio for the dungeons have been muted so that we can continue this conversation. It's one of the few things I mute, just because it's regular, ongoing. It takes up a lot of audio time for us. So all the other alerts, though, they're turned on. You get the audios for them. You get all of that, because this is interactive with you guys out there. Yes, you, the people watching. Feel free to conversate with us. Join the conversation. We see Dreg Vega is in here, of course, Black Collar Collective, one of the founding fathers of the Black Collar Collective in here. Welcome on in. Redneck Jedi, welcome in. Matrix, I did a co-stream with Matrix last night on some Dark and Darker. Welcome on in. This Namven guy, I see him in chat. He's pretty cool. Redneck Jedi. Sean is James Bond. I know I saw Steven the Shark in there. Drake, of course. Roddy Mama gifting those subs earlier. Welcome on in, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciates all of you. Tux is in here. Tux is one of the developers for the Algos United game, also part of my stream team. Tux is a really awesome, super cool person, so welcome on in, Tux. Should I make a song about pretzels? Rubs hands together evenly. Pretzels. I do think I have the AI song thing turned on. I think I did add that recently. I didn't make it cheap, but I added it.
If you want to make a song about making pretzels, let me know. We'll collab.
There we go. With that being said, how are you doing, Namven? All of my chatting, have you gotten to take a breath while I was talking at all? I get a breath in, get a word in edgewise.
No, everything's been going all right. I can't complain. I the way I've always said it is, I could probably complain, but if I don't want to hear it, I don't think anybody else wants to hear it. But
that's a good.
At the end of the day, no, things are going all right. I'm okay over here. How about yourself?
I'm good. So you talked about baseball and being up on the baseball. Are you currently up on baseball? Are you just like you like it in general, so you'll go to like local games and major league and keep track, or are you like, I've got a white bulletin board with every player's statistics next to it? What level of baseball are you? Go Tigers! Somebody says go Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a huge Detroit Tigers fan. I'm originally from Michigan. I currently live in Ohio, so I'm just a huge Detroit Tigers fan. But no, I would say I'm somewhere in between. I do follow baseball very closely. I've always said that opening day, MLB opening day, not Detroit Tigers opening day, but MLB opening day is like a holiday for me.
Okay.
I don't have a physical board on my wall, but I do literally count down the days till opening day. And if there's anybody who wants to schedule something on opening day, I'm like, I am completely dead to the world that day. I'm watching baseball, and that's all I'm doing for the day. If I'm working, that's different. But when I get home, I'm shutting everything else off. I'm watching baseball. If you want to join me for the baseball, that's fantastic. If not, fine, I can do it myself.
So what's more important, the World Series or opening?
Depends on who's in the World Series.
Good answer.
It depends on who's in the World Series. I will watch the World Series no matter what team's in it, even if there's teams that I don't particularly like for any reason. I'll still watch it. I watch the playoffs just like I do it for football too. But it doesn't matter if my team's not in it. I'm still very much interested in who's going to win, all the theatrics that comes with it. It's a fantastic time for me.
Okay. Oh, I think there's a song that's going to be popping up here in a bit. I'm guessing. I didn't. Unless it's not playing, we'll see. I just got a notification that something went through the queue line, so we'll see what happens here. Casual wellness check if the Tigers go on a bad run.
Yeah, I guess you could say I am ready to let a sports team dictate my mental health for the next 6 months. Is a way to put it.
Here we go.
Like, how you doing today? I don't want to fucking talk about it. Like stuff.
Here's the song.
Twist and turn, pretzels in the air. Soft or hard, we love them everywhere. Salty, sweet, in a tasty world. Pretzel love, oh what a swirl. Oh, pretzel joy. La 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 la, crunchy toy. In the park or at the fair, pretzel stands are here and there.
Wow.
With mustard dip or chocolate flow. Pretzel love, let it show. Knot it up, a dough delight. Every bite feels just right. From the oven, warm and bright.
Nice.
Pretzels, oh what a sight.
What a sight.
Twist and turn, pretzels in the air. Soft or hard, we love them everywhere.
This is very like
Salty, sweet,
80s, 90s Paula
in a
Abdul.
tasty world.
Oh, absolutely. Straight to number one.
Pretzel love, oh what a swirl. Oh, pretzel joy. La 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 la, crunchy toy.
La 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 la. La 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 la, crunchy toy. Wow.
When I think of pretzels, I don't think of the words crunchy toy.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's okay.
It's
It
okay.
was that slap. That was actually really good.
The prompt for that was create a fun, silly song about all types of pretzels, soft, hard, etc. We love them all. So thank you, Tux, for that that little audio blurb there. That's much appreciated. Sometimes I look at that and I'm like, this is, I don't know if I should add that, but really, yeah, the AI really phoned it in there in the end, for sure they did.
Ran out of steam.
Thank you, Shiny Dirt, for the follow. Welcome on in.
Hey, Shiny.
The
Shiny is my friend that introduced me to wrestling, actually.
Oh, nice. High five, Shiny. Let's go. Maybe talk about a little.
Well, I should say reintroduce, but more, yeah.
Reintroduce. Beautiful. So we were talking about baseball. Shout out to Pretzels. You can get them in the stadium. Sunstrider asked, "Are there any other minor league teams you like facing aside from the Pirates?"
Oh, geez. Well, the Oakland Athletics. I guess they should be called the Athletics now. They're no longer in Oakland. I'll be honest. I don't really pay attention too much to minor league. I really should, honestly. I do pay attention to the minor league teams that are affiliated with the Detroit Tigers, the Toledo Mud Hens, the Erie Seawolves, and stuff like that. But it doesn't go that far. I try to keep up with it a little bit, but it's mostly major league for me.
Hey, do you have any minor league teams that you enjoy, like actual minor league teams?
Yeah, the Toledo Mud Hens, the AAA affiliate for the Tigers, I do actually watch some of their stuff. I keep up with them just because that is the stopgap between some of these prospects and younger players making it up to the major league roster. So I have a really deep interest in like who's doing really well in the minors, who's going to be coming up soon. Some players, like I remember a couple of years ago, a player by the name of Kristen Stewart was a guy that was absolutely demolishing the minor leagues. He was killing it. He was doing so well, and I was so excited for him to be in the major leagues. Unfortunately, he did not play very well. And is no longer in the major leagues, but it's stuff like that I get really interested in. I want to see them come up to the majors. It's also really nice to root for the young guys, the guys that maybe nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah.
Somebody who didn't get drafted super early, like they get no national attention, but here they are playing great baseball, and then they get pulled to the majors, and you just want them so bad, not just because it's your team. I think supporting them in that manner is just more fun,
Right.
from my experience.
It's just extra helpful when it is your team and you've been watching them for a while.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
Absolutely. We had a baseball team called the St. Paul Saints it wasn't even in like AAA, AA. It wasn't even on the list. But they were always like, yeah, we are undefeated for like 3 years in a row. And it was just like, it was fun because their games were fun because Bill Murray ran it and he wanted it to be a fun show no matter what was going on. So you get that, but then they get moved to the Twins. They get moved as one of the Twins' minor league. And I haven't been to a game yet, but I heard that like now they actually have to play. Now they have some competition.
Absolutely. I've been wanting to go to like a Dayton Flying Dragons game. So I live in Ohio, and I actually am not too far away from the Dayton minor league baseball team, which is an affiliate for the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
I've thought about going to a game just because I do enjoy going to games when I can. And Major League Baseball, minor league baseball, to me, it's just baseball. It's the environment, being outside, enjoying a nice game, maybe having a nice frosty beer and a hot dog. In the end,
there's
very few things that are more fun to me.
in the end, I think there's something to be said about being to a baseball game live compared to any
Absolutely.
other way of consuming a game.
Yeah.
There's just
It's
that
an experience.
atmosphere. Yeah, it's an experience. 'Cause-
I think. No, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, I was just gonna blab. Go ahead.
My favorite, I would say, like, just as an example, I went to Detroit Tigers opening day in 2014, and it was the first time I'd ever gone to a game that was like opening day where the entire city of Detroit was just one massive party. And it wasn't even really the game that I was interested in at that point. When I went for the game, but like it was the festivities, it was the people, the environment. It was just such a blast that I'd love to go again to an opening day anywhere, really. Not even for just Detroit. I'd go to New York, Boston, San Francisco, Los Angeles. If I go to an opening day for somebody else, even if it's a team I don't care about, I think I would.
Yeah.
You would have to pry me out of there. It was just so much fun.
Nice. I see Redneck Jedi says, Wichita, in my city, a few years ago, they got a new baseball team. They built a whole new stadium, and like a week later, they were supposed to have their first game, and then that's when everything got locked down.
Oh, no.
Man, that's a
sucks
bummer.
so hard.
But yeah, and Tuck says it depends on who you go with, too. Yeah, I suppose if you go with a bunch of jackasses, it might not be
Oh,
fun,
God,
but-
yeah.
Or if you're
Yeah, I'd
sitting around a
rather-
bunch of a-holes.
Yeah, I was really fortunate that when I went to Detroit's opening day, I had no bad issue. I think Detroit Tigers fans are mostly pretty mild when it comes to baseball. Like, I know there's a lot of talk about certain fan bases aren't, you don't want to be around them because they can be a bit much.
Yeah,
I don't know if maybe it's just the blinders on because I'm a Tigers fan. I don't see it, but I don't really think I've ever heard anybody say the Tigers fans are rough to deal with in general.
I don't
But
think so.
then again, every fan base is going to have some bad apples.
But then again,
so
I'm from Minnesota, so I mean, even though there's that little Minnesota Detroit, rivalry, there's still the like, it's a rivalry except for you're our neighbor. If we lose, we know who we're rooting for, right?
Yeah.
So
definitely, I would say as a fan, because I know a lot of fans feel differently, like because the way the playoffs work, anybody who wins our division, your Minnesota Twins, my Tigers are on the same division.
Exactly. That's
so
what I was
we're
saying.
battling each other every year. It's like there is some sense of if my Tigers get knocked out of the playoffs, if I had to root for a team to go further, I kind of want to go with somebody in the Central just because it's our division.
Exactly.
It makes you feel better about yourself. Like the Tigers, they got knocked out of the playoffs last year by the Cleveland Guardians. And it was like, you know what? If they go on and do really well, that makes me feel better because, the team that we lost against was the one that won it all.
Yeah, wait.
Can't feel bad about that.
There's a team called the Guardians?
So they used to be called the Cleveland Indians. However, they have changed it as it was
right. Okay.
Pretty insensitive.
Yep. No.
They
totally,
changed it.
Totally. Yeah. Sure. I didn't realize. I mean, I guess I did realize they changed it. I just didn't know what their new name was.
Gotcha.
So
yeah.
I didn't know, and I was like, did they get a new team? Because I remember when the Rockies first came out, and everybody was like, "What?" And then it's like they have some cool merch though. So I mean, we got that going for us. I had like year one of the Colorado Rockies. I had a Colorado Rockies shirt because I'm like, at least their branding is cool.
I had an Orlando Magic jacket.
Oh yeah.
When I was growing up at some point, and I've never been to Florida, so why would I have an Orlando Magic jacket? It was just cool branding,
Yeah, for sure. I really enjoy the atmosphere of a live game, but my next question is going to be very interesting to hear your response.
Okay. Would
you rather watch it on TV or listen to it on the radio?
That is a great question.
Because I get a lot of different answers on these.
Yeah. So it depends. I like both. I guess I prefer to watch on TV because I can actually physically see what's happening. But I will say that there is a certain magic of watching or listening to it on the radio because your brain is doing all the work of what it looks like that's actually happening. And as long as you have a good radio broadcaster that can paint the picture for you, in my opinion, that's what makes a good radio broadcaster, is them giving you all the important details of what's happening in the game, and then your brain just does the work for you.
Yeah.
And that alone can be its own set of magic. That being said, it really does depend on who's broadcasting, because there are some radio broadcasters that are just not as good as others. I mean, it's just the lay of the land. Some broadcasters are going to be better at their job than others. Some broadcasters might be better for you. Maybe they do a job that's better for you in the way you like it. I will say I'm a little spoiled because we've had Dan Dickerson for the Detroit Tigers for a while after we lost Ernie Harwell. And I love Dan Dickerson. I will listen to him all day. If I can't watch it on TV, I have absolutely no problem listening to the radio. He is an amazing broadcaster.
For me, I can't watch it. I have a hard time watching it on the television. I watch it and I'm like, okay, that's okay, great, whatever. I can see what's going on. I can put it on in the background while I'm cleaning the house or doing something else, which you'd think is weird compared to radio. You'd think that's how you do it for radio. But for radio, I have no problem turning it on, sitting out in the backyard and just watching the backyard and just listening to it, because you can hear the audience a bit better. You can hear the live people, the tone of the announcers and the way they talk to it makes me feel a lot more like I'm actually there than I would if I'm watching it on TV and they're like, oh, here's a high res angle from this and here's the thing and the whatever. It's like, yeah, it's cool to watch all those, but I can hear it and I can just relax. I can enjoy the baseball game and I can relax. It's like listening to classical music or something like that, where you're just like chilling out. And that's just me. And a lot of people are like, you're crazy.
No, you bring up a very good point, because the way I look at it now, I never looked at it like that. But when you're watching it on TV, I think it's very clear you're watching what's almost like a production.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is not what's actually happening. Like, if you have ever gone to a live game and you watch it on TV, it's nothing similar. The only thing similar is that you're watching the same players do the same thing, but the way it's presented to you, completely different. Whereas if you're listening to the radio, it's not just a production. Like you said, it feels like I'm actually there.
Yeah.
And if that broadcaster is doing a really good job at describing everything to you, your brain's going to help you transport you there.
And you don't have to sit there and wait for the little thing to pop up to tell you, okay, how many strikes is he on? The announcers pretty much always tell you where we're at in the game, where we're at, what the thing is, and all of that kind of
Bottom
stuff.
of the seventh, count is 2-2, and here comes Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Going up against left-handed pitcher Tommy Candle. Got an ERA of 3.82. Had a good stuff like that.
Are those notes you actually have in front of you? I'm just curious, because I wouldn't be
just
surprised.
pulled it out. Nope, not at all. Unfortunately, Miguel Cabrera is retired. I'm sad about that. That was my favorite player, but stuff like that. I do follow a lot of, like, I'm on ESPN and Baseball Reference a lot for stats. I'm a very numbers guy. I'm a very statistical oriented guy. I think that's why I like baseball so much, because baseball is very numbers oriented. There's a lot of different formulas and ways that they can describe how good a player is. And kind of like we were talking about, with later on, we'll talk about GRPGs, but GRPGs do the same thing. Your number goes straight up. I love watching the numbers go up. It's something I really enjoy. Baseball does something very similar to me. I love watching players' stats go up as they play throughout the season, comparing the two, who's been better, who's been worse, how good are they at defending, how good are they at pitch framing, their slugging percentage, hard hit, like stuff like that. It's so much more scientific and mathematical than I would have ever anticipated a sport to be.
Yeah.
And part of that is something I really enjoy as I'm a numbers nerd. Let's just say that.
Putting it out to the chat too. I typed it in because I was like, well, I don't know. We'll just type it in there, see what people say. Shiny Dirt says baseball radio commentators are fantastic. Fantastic.
Absolutely, they are.
They're awesome. Guys, if you guys prefer TV or radio in the chat, let us know as well. Sean James Bond wants to know if we've been inspired by any baseball or basketball movies. Any baseball movies stand out to you?
A couple. I would say Angels in the Outfield is definitely something that a lot of the story around it is something that kind of sits near and dear to my heart. But honestly, I'm not a huge movie guy. I've come to realize that pretty recently that I'm not a huge on, like, movies don't usually play a big part of me. Not like music does, but like I like movies, but if you ask me, like, what's your favorite movie, and I say this, and you quote the movie, I probably won't even realize that I'm quoting it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't stick with me as other things do, unfortunately.
I
also Air Bud. I love Air Bud.
Air Bud. Nice. Of course, I mean, you can't. Field of Dreams obviously is a classic. So.
Oh my gosh,
we can't
Field of Dreams.
Talk about Field of Dreams.
Did you see I know you've been kind of the baseball thing, but did you see the Field of Dreams game that they've been doing recently?
No, I haven't.
So MLB has actually been putting on a Field of Dreams game. I think they're doing it every year now, where there's one game a year where they go back to that field that the movie was filmed in, and they actually have the players come out of the cornfield to take the field. to play the game, and it is.
That's cool.
I cried the first time I watched it. It was so beautiful. It was just something. Like I know there's the quote that a lot of people say is, "How can you not be romantic about baseball?" That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
It was. If you can go on YouTube, they have like the opening for the game. I don't think they have the whole game on YouTube, but
Yeah,
you can
I'll have
watch
to
the
look.
opening to it, and it is very powerful. Kevin Costner's there. They play the iconic music over the speakers.
Oh, nice.
It is wonderful.
That's cool. That's cool. A lot of people TV. Roddy Mama says for baseball it's radio, but for football it's got to be TV. Yeah, for sure. As
I
far
feel
as-
like there's much more happening in football that you
Yeah,
kind of need
yeah.
the TV.
Yeah.
So
For sports movies, I remember the Titans. Redneck Jedi says remember the Titans for sport movies. Of course, I can't. Being a Twins guy and growing up a Twins guy, I can't not talk about the Rookie. I think it was called The Rookie, with the kid who's he's a kid who inherits the baseball team.
Yep. I haven't seen that movie in
I just love like the
years.
team sucks and like they all have their reasons for sucking, and and like there's the one guy who's like the best, like this best baseball pitcher, like really good baseball pitcher, and he's intentionally screwing up so that they get rid of him because he doesn't want to be there. And then the kid's like, no, we're just going to keep playing you. In fact, we're going to play you more because the more you tank your own stats, the less other teams are going to want you. And he's like, son of a bitch. And the next cutscene is that night, strikeout, strikeout, strikeout.
Sometimes you just need the innocent viewpoint of a young child to put everything into perspective. Like, wow, how simple. All right, you got me.
Yeah, and you get and for me, I was a kid, so for me, you get that perspective of, hey, that could be me, sort of thing.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
So a lot of
Maybe
fun.
when I'm 12 years old, I can lead the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe someday. And then you grow up and go, oh, that was never going to
Then
happen.
you grow up and you're like,
Damn
nope, and the team's not the same. But they did just have, again, they just did a bronze statue of Joe Mauer.
They
recently.
did.
Made the thing, and
Yeah,
that was
I
pretty cool.
haven't seen them reveal it, but because the Tigers actually just played the Minnesota Twins this past weekend.
Oh,
yeah, they were actually playing.
Did you beat us?
We beat you the first 2 games, and then you guys got us in the last game.
Okay.
So we split the series.
That's all right.
But I did see that the statue of Joe Mauer was wrapped up, so they weren't going to reveal it just yet. I don't know if maybe they've revealed it, but during our series, I saw it was like, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
I loved Joe Mauer.
That was
a
when I came
fantastic
back. So
player.
I was a big in the 90s or in the 80s. I was like the late 80s. I was huge like baseball fan. In 87, like I went and I saw the one of the World Series, the one of the championship games leading up to the World Series, where they kind of like, let's see who is actually going. I got to go see one of those at the Dome when I was a kid. I think our Boy Scout troop or something went, and I was so stoked. So I got to see that, and was a big fan of that era of the Kent Herbeck, the Kirby Puckett, all of that. And then
oh man,
and then I kind of stuck with it, so I like knew who they were, and then in the the Joe Mauer era, I was really into it. Again, just before the Joe Mauer era, where like we were seeing this guy and he was really cool, and then watching his career and all of that, like that whole time frame for a handful of years, I was really, really into watching baseball. And then it just kind of slowly dwindled off because life,
as it does.
I can only watch so many things.
No, dude, I totally get that.
My baseball, my life looking at baseball is like your life looking at wrestling.
Oh, okay, all right, I can see that. Yeah, like you were into it, then you had that like kind of dark period, and then you're back into it.
Yeah, and then I was back into it.
That's exactly what happened with me at wrestling. I was really into that when I was younger, and then there was like a solid almost 20 years in between, not quite, where I knew about it but didn't watch it.
Right.
And then my friend Shiny Dirt was like, "Hey, how do you feel about wrestling?" I was like, I used to watch it, but I don't have any opinions. Like, we're gonna watch some wrestling, and now I watch Raw and SmackDown pretty much every week.
Nice. There's that timer. As quick as it comes, it goes.
Oh man.
Pedro. Boo. I don't know what the Ba 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 Boo was. Baba Booey. Maybe that's what it's coming from. I don't
I
have
love
any
that song.
idea. I love the Pedro. So much so that as lyric shows there, I had to make an emote of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love that little raccoon is my spirit animal. That's right. Same here. That raccoon is amazing. Love the raccoon. Love the raccoon. Of course, our first topic is done already. So quick.
I know,
It
right?
comes
Thanks.
and it goes.
Man, doesn't feel like that was 20 minutes.
It doesn't. It does not talk about it. What about Happy Gilmore? Yeah, Happy Gilmore is fun. They're making another Happy Gilmore, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they're doing a
Are they
sequel to
really?
Happy Gilmore. Yeah, that's the golf one, right? Where he's the hockey
Yeah,
player and he
yeah.
becomes a golfer. Yeah, they're making a sequel.
Yeah, he's
It
trying
might
to make
actually
money
already
and
be
make
out. It's
sure.
coming out on Netflix. Happy Gilmore too.
Okay.
I've seen trailers for it. It looks all right. It looks all right.
Yeah, well, I wonder what there is about these movies that are finally getting sequels. Like Gladiator first recently got a sequel.
I don't even know how that's
I
I don't even know how that like. How is that a sequel? Like, it ended. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not even
It
the
didn't
same
really
actor. So
open-
it's like
didn't
it's not
leave
like
anything open.
Like what? I don't get it.
Oh man.
MJF is playing his son? No.
Really? MJF?
I mean, if MJF,
Maxwell Jacob
if MJF, if MJF is playing the son, I hope the son is as much of a dirtbag as MJF plays to be, because I can see that being freaking hilarious.
Oh God, yes.
I think they're doing a Big Daddy sequel as well.
I hope so, because I actually like legitimately love Big Daddy. That's actually one of my favorite movies. Of all the movies I've not seen, I have seen Big Daddy and I love it.
I like Big Daddy as well. All right. Hello, Ash Husky. Welcome on in. If I missed anybody who came in during the chat, welcome in everybody. I see Wino's in here as well. I know there were a couple people that popped in. I was like, I want to say hello, and then I didn't get around to it. If I missed you, my apologies. It's not intentional. We got a lot going on. We got a show to do. But welcome on. Oh, Cody, Universal Death Squad. Been away for a while. Personal life stuff. Welcome back, Cody. If you're still here, thank you for being here. I hope you are doing well. We loves you. Just Googled MJF in the movie is confirmed. Okay. MJF is like, right? Like if I were to talk if we were to talk about wrestling, I'd be like, what AEW wrestlers would we love to see in WWE? And MJF is top of that list. So
Darby Allin.
Yeah, Darby Allin. If as long as they present him in a way that works, but I also have a feeling that his personality might go against the grain of WWE and just the formatting and the because it's very controlled chaos, and he's like, this is chaos that cannot be controlled, sort of thing. But maybe I don't know. It'd be awesome. He's great. He's great at what he does.
Oh God, yeah.
I love his stuff. So.
I don't watch a lot of AEW these days, but I was always a big fan of Darby Allin.
Yeah,
anytime he
same.
was in the ring, it's I'm totally like, here we go. Like his match with Sting at Revolution, he got cut up. He went through a table of broken glass, and I think he needed like
some of the crazy stuff he does. I'm not as big of a fan of, where he's like professional stuntman
ECW
sort of stuff.
days.
But yeah, some of them. There was a they did that cinematic match. They did a cinematic match with him and Sting, and then Taz's people that was really good too. But I digress. Quoting Taz right there. Our next topic is why we love music, all things music. And somebody in chat wanted to know. Big question: does Namven watch or like musicals? What about the musicals?
So I do, but I don't watch a lot of them. Not because I don't like them. I can't think of a musical I've watched that I didn't like. But it's like movies in general, anything like that. I don't watch a lot of movies. It's just my thing. I will say though, probably my favorite musical is The Greatest Showman. I have seen that movie, I think 4 times up to this point, which is a lot for me. I know some people watch movies like 25, 30, 35 times, but I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times now. And I do like musicals. I just don't watch enough of them, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, nice. For those that don't know, Namven makes music. Please tell us a little bit about like that history, what you did, what you do.
Oh man,
what you enjoy.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. Really, music's been kind of my lifeblood since I was a kid. listen to music, making music, writing music, producing. I mean, anything that revolves around music. I mean, you can see the background here. And I got 6 guitars sitting in the stands over in the side of the room. It's always been something that has been extremely important to me. It's probably the most important thing to me. One of my favorite stories is when I was a kid, my mom used to tell the story about how she would put me in the family van when I was probably like 2 or 3 years old. And I would yell at her to put in the Alan Jackson cassette tape because I loved Alan Jackson so much as a kid. And then it just kind of going from there. Music has always been prevalent in my life. And as I became a teenager, I got so interested in music, I wanted to learn how to play because I realized how much music meant to me. And I think a lot of people who are very in tune with music have that moment in their life where they realize, like in a split second, this means a lot to me and I want to continue making it a part of my life. And I remember I was laying on the couch when I was 12 years old. I was listening to the MP3 players in 2004.
Yeah,
it was right
yeah.
before the iPod really came, like was really big. And we had an MP3 player.
You saw the new AirPod. Wait. You saw the new AirPod. I hate to digress. But you seen the new AirPods?
No, I haven't.
So they got the new AirPods, you know, the AirPods that are supposed to be like all their own thing, and they come with a case, and on the case you can change your music and settings and everything. And they're like, this is this new big thing. It's like, so what you're saying is it's an iPod.
Yeah, no kidding. I was about to say, like, technology cycles, and it's ridiculous. Like, we go from having these big I love that joke about how we had the giant cell phones and then we made them as small as we could, and then we had to make a big
now they're getting big again. Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's like, let me show. I wish I had still had my iPods. I should be like, you want these? Here, take it.
Yeah, right.
But like, I remember laying on the couch, I was listening to, so my favorite band's The Used. I did see a question in chat about what's our favorite music artist.
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing a Used shirt right now, actually. I was listening to their first 2 albums, and it was in that moment I was like, I knew music is really important to me. I just think this is going to be something that I need to stick with. So around then, I started wanting to play music. I picked up guitar, and now they're taking over my place. I have too many guitars to count these days. I did live music. I played in a band for quite some time, and we traveled all around Michigan, recorded in studios, got to do a little bit of touring. Music got put out on Hollywood Rock Radio for a little while. So I got to do a little bit of the whole music thing. That was a lot of fun. And then what we were talking about earlier, as life does, things get complicated. You kind of have to stop doing some of the things you're doing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, music's not paying the bills, or wasn't paying the bills.
Yeah.
So I kind of went back to having just a normal life. But in the last couple of years, I've learned how to produce my own music. So I'm actually sitting in my little studio area right here with interfaces and effects pedals and everything on my guitars. And I just sit here and write and record, and it's amazing. I'm truly in my element when I'm doing music stuff. That's for sure.
So here's a follow-up question, because
Yeah.
I gotta ask. You do all your streams, video games, JRPGs, retro games. Yeah. Are we going to start getting some music streams where you're producing on stream? I mean,
I've wanted to, but I think this is something that I kind of want to, because I love, one of my love languages is sharing music with people. Like, if I send you a song that I think you're going to like, just know that means I like you. You're a friend of mine. You're a close friend of mine, because I love sharing that with people. But when it comes to making my own music, I wrestle with the idea of, this is very personal. It's very much I'm very vulnerable in that moment. And I don't know if I'm ready to really broadcast the creative process to people yet, but I'd love to at some point. I really would. That being said, I have been working on getting it set up. So maybe in the future, there'll be some, I am working on some music for an undisclosed project that I think would be really fun to show people, like my digital audio workstation, my instruments, maybe me playing some guitar, using a keyboard.
Yeah, stuff like that. Even if it's just,
you're
just playing the music just for shits and giggles, just like playing and whatever. And maybe,
yeah, I love, we have friends like Arcade Chris.
I was just going to say, like, you do something with Arcade Chris for a charity stream. I don't know. Is there any charity streams coming up that you might be able to fit that in?
Oh man, I would love to sit down with him. I know he's in LA, and I'm here on the East Coast, like in the eastern part of the United States, but I would love to fly out there and do like a collab with him. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
but sometime in the future, I'm
Figure
thinking it's
something
gonna happen.
Yeah, super awesome. I
Yeah.
love music. I'm a big fan of all kinds of music. Is there a genre that you shy away from, or is all music sacred to you? Are you kind of one of those processes?
There's definitely genres of music I listen to more than others. But there's not really any genre that I don't like.
Okay.
Like you can play, like I grew up on country music, which is funny because I think a lot of people who like get to know me really well, like, you listen to country? Yeah, I love country music. You know, I'm wearing a The Used shirt. They were like a hardcore screamo band in the 2000s, but
Right.
I love country. I love pop. I love jazz, gypsy jazz specifically. Pop punk was huge for me growing up. When I learned how to play guitar, I was big on Blink-182, All Time Low. And then I got into metalcore, and then I liked a little bit of funky music. Basically, the way I've always said it is, you play a song for me, I either I like it or I don't. Genre doesn't matter.
Being a fan of Blink-182, I was not a fan. I was not a fan of Blink-182, and here's one of the main reasons why. This is the part where you get to defend Blink-182 and change my mind. But to me, most of their hit songs sounded the same to me.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
You're not wrong. So that's the pop side, right? Pop punk.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that you could say for bands like Nickelback. I know a lot of people give Nickelback a lot of shit. I'm not going to here to defend that, but that was always like, I like them. Don't get me wrong. I have no problem.
Oh, I like Nickelback.
People. I don't care who fucking hears it. I enjoy Nickelback. Are they the best band in the world? I don't think so. Are they good at what they do? They're phenomenal at what they do. But they always had the same argument where it's like, you put this song on top of this song, their hit Someday and their hit Photograph, and it's very formulaic. And what people don't understand is, like, when it comes to songwriting processes, I know there's a bunch of different formulas that work. And there's a reason why people write it in those formulas, because it's proven that people like it and it sells.
Yeah.
I can't argue with it, you know?
No, that's a good argument. I mean, you can go back to a lot of bands that's, a lot of their stuff does sound like their other stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So,
one band in particular that I've noticed that has stayed the course and has pretty much done the same type of music. Not all their songs sound the same, but I will say I can never remember which album it came off of, because they all feel like one long cohesive album. Is the band Newfound Glory.
Okay.
Another band that came out around the time Blink-182. They've pretty much done the same type of music their entire career. And I give them a lot of credit, because, artists and bands evolve and they change their sound, but they were like, no, we like doing this. We're still liking doing this. 25 years later, we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again in 3 years.
I think it's difficult when you got a band and it's like a 3-piece band to change that up, unless somebody is playing multiple instruments. Whereas when you get a larger, when you get a Duran Duran put together, and it's like you've got an ensemble, a whole team of people with a litany of different musical instruments you can put together and rearrange, like, it's gonna have that opportunity to sound different. Not that the Duran Duran's music is all different, because it's not, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I totally get that. I mean, even in the band that I was in, we had 5 members at one point, and even that felt kind of crazy, because then we went down to 4. It's just having a bunch of extra people into the mix. It changes a lot, because everybody wants to put in their ideas for songwriting, like, especially when you're in a local band or a small time band.
Yeah.
It's not just one person writing the music. You've got a bunch of other people who want to add in their own lyrics, their own melodies and stuff. Well, if you have like a Slipknot situation where you've got like 8 or 9 people, I just don't understand how anything gets done.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the band, not the movie, the band Tenacious D?
Tenacious D. I'm not extremely I know who they are. I'm not extremely familiar. I've heard a number of their songs. I like them. I don't really have any real opinions. What's the song they had on Guitar Hero, the metal, because I did play a lot of Guitar Hero when that came out. I loved that song. And then the Tribute is a big one. And then the one they did with Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters is, can't remember the name off the top of my head, but yeah, they're good. I like them. I also just like Jack Black.
Yeah, right. I like Jack Black too. That's everything he does is so much fun. And his love. Okay, you don't watch a lot of movies. Did you ever watch School of Rock?
I have.
What did you think of that, as from a perspective of somebody that understands music?
So that's a great question, because I've watched it I've probably watched School of Rock 2 or 3 times, probably even a little more than that. It was one of those movies that came on TV. If it was on TV, I'm like, I'm so there. I watched it before I started playing guitar and music, and then I watched it afterwards. So actually, doing that, my opinion changed on it. I think it's a fantastic movie because it shows how not even Jack Black's character, but how all these the younger generation can appreciate and enjoy learning how to play an instrument, how to work together. And it also, the biggest thing for me was accepting them for exactly who they are and finding what their talents are and just don't even caring about anything else. Just be like, hey, you're really good at this. Do this.
Yeah.
Because you're really good at it. I don't care how you look. I don't care how you sound. You're really good at this. And I want to grow that for you. As a musician who is completely self-taught, I think it's beautiful. I really do.
One of the things
I don't want anybody to feel that way.
One of the
not being able to do. Yeah.
One of the added things I took away from that too was that not everybody is musically gifted. Not everybody has that talent. But if you're passionate about it, whatever you can do can still be helpful to that. And that was the girl that had absolutely no talent, and then she ended up being like their band manager, and she was perfect for it. It's like that was cool, and it made you like feel that like, okay, just because I'm not good at this doesn't mean I can't be in this industry.
Exactly.
Sort of thing. So I love that.
Don't worry about the fact that you can't play guitar. Worry about the fact that you're really good at playing the piano.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, if you find that and you realize you love it and you have a knack for it, it makes me mad because I didn't take any music classes in high school. Like I wasn't in band or anything. I learned all music theory on my own. I really wish I had done band in high school because it would have helped me out in my music career.
Yeah.
But yeah, I 100% agree with that. Is that
I wish I would have seen that movie when I was in high school. Like I wish that movie came out 20 years earlier because like I love music and let me give you off a list of things that I've tried as a kid growing up. I did flute, I did piano, I did guitar, I tried, it wasn't saxophone, it was saxophone adjacent. I don't remember what it was, but it was like the saxophone.
Not bassoon.
Maybe it was the saxophone now that I think about it. I think it was saxophone. But yeah, just a litany. I think I did at least 5 different instruments. And that's just off the top of my head. And then later in high school, I tried guitar. And then in high school, I tried guitar. Or college, I tried guitar. I actually took a class. And that helped. Like, I could do chords and stuff. And I was able to enjoy it. And I could do, like, 2 or 3 songs via chords and do the thing. But, like, as much as I loved it, I just couldn't pick it up. And I just couldn't do it. And I'm like, man, if I would have seen that show and realized, man, I could do something else and still do something musically inclined, that would be awesome. But yeah,
absolutely.
My mom loves music. I grew up with music, so like that was always a huge thing for me, and I just never had any of that talent.
It's always been weird to me because like most of my family, especially my immediate family, my brother played trombone throughout high school. He was really good at playing trombone. My nephew is in band now, and that makes me really happy. And then my uncle on my mom's side has been playing trumpet for the last 60 years, but like most of my family never really cared about music, right? Like I remember my mom would be like, where did this come from? Because here I am playing guitar on stage in front of, 200 people and we're doing all this stuff. And like, where did this come from? Nobody else in the family really, it just wasn't really a thing that they were into. And I just like, oh, maybe I'm adopted. Who knows? And she slapped me and everything was good.
Anything besides guitar that you play?
Yeah, so I play a little bit of drums. That's actually the drums were the first instrument I wanted to learn. But at the time, couldn't do it. It was expensive. We didn't have a lot of money. And my mom and dad were like, you can't turn drums down. So didn't want to do drums. But I did eventually start learning drums. I play bass. I can play the piano a little bit. I started learning how to play the violin. Dropped that pretty quickly.
That was another one. Yeah, I did violin too.
Yeah, we had a violinist in our band, and almost like a yellow card situation. And she was teaching me a little bit. I was trying to play it, and I was like, I'd love to sit down and play more. But
I love the sound of that in contemporary bands and contemporary music. I love the sound of of violins and violas. I like that kind of sound put in there.
Oh, absolutely. One of my favorite bands the last 20 years is Blue October. And Blue October, the violinist in their band is very prominent in their music. I think the lead singer of Blue October said the violin adds the blue in Blue October. There's just something very emotional behind that instrument.
Yeah, I think that's why I like it. That's why I like it.
Not just because it's different, but it adds such an extra layer of thought-provoking and emotion.
Okay. Halo says that I did piano as a kid, then couldn't afford one in college, so now Monkey Sway got me a keyboard, so I'm working on retraining myself. I think that's retraining myself.
Yeah, pianos are expensive, and not only are they expensive, tuning them is expensive if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
I was told by a friend of mine that if you wanted to tune a piano, it almost costs as much as the piano itself. It's insane. It's almost like throwing out your printer because you ran out of ink, because the printer ink costs the same.
Right. Yeah. Oh God. If I had $1 for, I luckily signed up for, neither here nor there, but I signed up for a service where just like it auto refills and I just pay $5 a month. And then
that's awesome.
It's like, oh my gosh, this is so nice. And they don't even do it. It's all on the internet. So as soon as it runs low, like I won't know it's running low, and then I'll get a thing in the mail and they're like, oh, I got a ink cartridge, and I'll go look. It's like, oh, my ink is low.
Whoop. Oh man, I actually just recently went and bought a printer, copier, scanner combo because I needed it for some paperwork, and realized I didn't have one, so I went and got it and went, I don't know how often I'm going to be using this, but at least I have it, and all this ink hopefully doesn't dry up by the time I need to use it again, because I don't know when I'll be using it again, but maybe I'll just again throw it out and be like, I just get another one that cost me like $100.
Yeah. Is there a big difference in playing a bass versus a regular guitar, other than obviously the number of strings?
Yeah, it depends. I've always said that I play bass like I play a guitar.
Okay.
There are a lot of techniques and a lot of groove, rhythm, and feel to a bass that very different from playing a guitar. That's what separates like a really good bassist from, I'd say, someone like me who I can play bass, but I don't play like a bassist. I'm not going to be like a Victor Wooten or a Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm not going to be that type of bassist.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, it's pretty much the same. If you just wanted, like, if I pull out my Telecaster and played a bunch of power chords and went up and down the neck, I could transfer that to a bass and just play the root note of each one, and it would sound perfect.
Yeah. I always had a struggle because I always thought the bass was really cool. Like everybody's always like, oh yeah, the main guitar is really awesome. And that's, I was like, yeah, well, everybody's a big guitar, and that's the main thing. And then I'm like, the bass guitar always looked cool, but then when you listen to it, you're like, but aren't they just going bum 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 bum? Like where is the thing? And then but then you'll go and you'll hear like a guitar, like a bass solo, and you're like, that sounds so cool. That sounds way cooler than the guitar solo.
I will always scream justice for bassists, because they get the shit end of the stick when it comes to bands. Like everybody loves the lead singer, everybody loves the guitarist, and even the drummer gets a lot of love, but nobody gives a shit about the bassist. And as a musician, I don't think people really understand how important it is to have a good bass line and a good bassist in the mix with you, because it makes you so much better as a musician. When you have somebody playing a groove or a rhythm that just pops, it just unlocks another part of your brain, your musical brain, with your guitar, and you're like, oh, here we go, watch this. I know something immediately that's going to go with that. And just love your friends that are bassists.
Yeah,
just do it, because they need it.
I think there's a reason that's another reason that I like the Police and the music that they did.
Oh,
because Sting was a master of, like, everybody in that band. That entire band, like, everything that they do is a master class in what they do. Like, they're all masters. I can see why they all butt heads, because they are all masters and they all have different opinions. But yeah, hearing some of that like funky rock with that bass that Sting would throw out there, that wasn't something you heard normally in music.
No.
So it was always just something really cool and unique to me, being a person that thought bass was cool. Hey, we have come down to the end of that topic's time. The time is
one
nigh.
more thing before we move on.
Yo, yeah.
Just one more.
Yeah.
You said Police? Rush.
Rush, yes, Rush.
You talk about three musicians that are amazing what they do. I can't imagine. I can't believe they did the thing they did together for 40 years.
Yeah. There's a lot of really good Yeah.
Rest in peace, Neil Peart. Absolutely. All three of those guys were so good at what they do. Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, Neil Peart. Do you want to talk about a band that has extreme talent? Rush.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna agree with that. Couldn't keep time without them.
That's true. Just like you need to have a good drummer, you need to have a good bassist if you want to stay on time and stay on beat, man. If they can't do that for you, everything falls apart.
Yeah. Then there's Lemmy. I'm sorry, I'm backtracking. That's in reverse order. Then there's Lemmy comes first, and then you without him. But yeah.
Oh, dude, Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
I love that, man. Rest in peace, Lemmy, too.
And of course, there's he's got that wrestling tie-in, so you can't deny the wrestling tie-in with the one and only Lemmy.
It's time to play the game,
right? I think he did 3 songs for Hunter. 3 different songs. One was a one-off for a record, and then 2 of the other ones were like mainstays that they did. There's the one that everyone knows, the time to play the game, and then there's another one that I almost forgot about it, but I just saw an interview with Hunter where he was talking about that other song, and I was like, oh yeah, and they played it. I was like, oh yeah, my God, he had that for like 2-3 years.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. We're totally going to be talking about wrestling for the potluck. It's not going to not happen now. It's not. It's every single time we just circle back to that. Whatever the topic is, that actually, we talk. My superpower. We always talk. Everybody's got a superpower they don't know about. I know mine. My superpower is to turn any conversation into a conversation about wrestling. And I almost gotten like all of my coworkers at one of my jobs almost kicked me out for the day because they were just sick of it, because it didn't matter what they do, and I just eventually the conversation they got so sick of it after 5-6 years, every single night in a grocery store being like, Nick, stop talking about wrestling, shut the fuck up.
Is it Murphy's Law or Godwin's Law, the one that the longer you have a conversation, the more likely that a conversation about Hitler is going to come up? We call it Epic Realms Law. The longer you have a conversation, the more likely you're going to bring up wrestling.
Yes. I don't know if you can call it Godwin's Law because they were hog farmers in the 90s. So, there we go again, turning it into a wrestling conversation. Anyhow, it was Henry O. Godwin.
Proving the point.
Proving the point yet again. We do have a Tangia dungeon up. You guys get on on that.
Oh,
dungeon.
I gotta get in there. Okay, we're good.
We had some good Tangia dungeoning happening last night. We'll continue to do the good Tangia dungeoning. I might get some new equipment in there eventually, but we got plenty of new equipment on there. We got some Ghostbusters gear, and we've got the new Bowser adjacent, the Bowser light. It's like my Koopa armor. Sorry Nintendo. Yeah. It's called Dragon Armor. It's Dragon Armor. It's not called Koopa armor, but I added that this week, and it gives you bonus 2 loot chance drops, so you guys can get some better loot if you get that equipped.
Love it.
So yeah, guys, we are going to come back. We're going to talk about retro games, JRPGs. That's kind of like the staple of a lot of the stuff that we see on Namven stream. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Of course, after the show's over, we'll talk about the stuff Namven has coming up as well. We also have Off the Pod, which who knows what we're going to talk about. Probably wrestling. Who knows what we'll talk about with that. So, and of course, we still are going to talk in depth about the charity coming up on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. The AIM Youth Mental Health Charity. You can just do this charity if you want to see what we're doing. You can start now, guys, if you want to get in early, or if you're like, man, I have the money now but I don't know if I'm bad with money, I might not be able to donate later, then do it now. You can do it in that link right there. You can start early if you can't make it to the event and be a part of the charity. Of course, if you're a streamer, I'm sure there might still be a couple slots open if you want to help out. I don't want to volunteer people, and I don't want to say for sure that there is, but you can maybe reach out to me and I can get you in contact with the people if you want to be a part of that, and they can see if it will work for you. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but there may or may not be some more openings. I'm not quite sure. I think there might be, but
I think we have a couple openings. I'm not sure. Wino and Drake Vega are the two.
They're the ones in charge. Yeah.
They're the ones who are setting up the scheduling for sure. Couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, and special shout out to those guys for so I haven't officially announced it. It's been unofficial. I haven't announced what I'm doing yet for it. They know, and I have a special guest who was only available at certain times, and so they shifted their schedules around to accommodate me. And so big shout out to Drag Vega, Wino, Arcade Chris, everybody in this certain time slot that I'm in. Thank you so much for adjusting and shifting and getting me to fit in, guys. We're going to talk the history of Dungeons and Dragon with the historian himself, Michael Whitwer. He has like 4 New York Times bestselling authors on the history of D&D. He also helped write the Heroes Feast and the Flavors of the Multiverse cookbooks. He is awesome, great person. We've had great chats in the past. He's going to be joining us, and we're going to be doing a 2-hour history of Dungeons and Dragons, interactive with you for charity, for the children. So you're going to want to make sure to come and join us for that. That's going to be at 5 p.m. Central, 6 Eastern. So you guys will be able to, that is my portion of that. Also, I may or may not be filling in if there's open slots, if people bail or times need to be adjusted. I'm going to try and be available a lot during the days on that entire thing too. So that is officially what is going to happen for me as far as the charity event is concerned. So we'll talk more about that after the break and after we're done with our topics and when we're officially talking about the Youth Mental Health Children's event. So definitely go and check out that link. While we are on break, guys, we have done 2 topics. We're going to take a quick little 10-15 minute break. When we come back, we're going to talk retro games. We're going to talk potluck. We're going to talk about Namven Stream, AIM Youth Mental Health, and all kinds of stuff. And of course, you guys can chat all you want. The Tangia Dungeon will continue to be running, so feel free to play that during the break. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
I just won't bang them, so it's,
Right. There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I gotta know what Dick and Milk is. Oh, Nuts and Milk. Dick and Game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along? And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you 3 be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim, so I was like, "Yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal."
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, see, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops to the Creeper. He's got to be in on it.
Right.
Scooby Doo, where are you? Oh boy, Scooby Dooby Doo with epic rims.
These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop 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 boop. Hey.
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
All right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh.
So it's going to be a comic, which is
okay.
Really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now, but now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
into a different
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link.
when I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
I need my calculator for that. What the? Hello, Movember. Thank you for all the donations.
Movember!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
November.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our team...
shit! We have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't have
prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Abby,
Shenanigans are
speak for
ensuing, everyone.
yourself. Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
guys, our team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000.
Wow.
There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
You ready?
No.
You ready?
No. How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping.
Here, push.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right?
will.
Titties for
I
bitties.
will.
Thank you. Look at that clip.
Oh, Billy.
Oh my god. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRB.
BRB, hold on. I'll be in my bunk.
Like that.
Welcome in, Raiders.
I just won't bang them, so it's, you know.
Right. There's a game called Dick and Milk. Sorry, I don't know what Dick and Milk is. Oh. Nuts and Milk. Dick a game A. I gotta know. Oh my god, they're little penises! Oh my god!
But I was also made like the host of all, like they had a bar crawl, so I was a host of that. They had a
Which
flip
makes
cup
sense.
game.
That makes sense. Who else
Yeah.
would be?
They had a flip cup game tournament, so I was a host of that. They had a beer pong tournament, I was a host of that. And so like Darkness Radio was doing a bar crawl their own, but it was they'd tell spooky stories because we were in the Bermuda Triangle. And Tim goes, "Hey, why don't you come along? And we got Santana and Ortiz, and why don't you three be like our guests and do the bar crawl with us, and then I'll put you on the podcast later." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, and I used to listen to Darkness Radio ever since I met Tim. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm pitching it to like Cheeseburger and Manny, the other people I knew that were on the cruise that loved paranormal."
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then we ended up doing the podcast. And then when Ring of Honor got closed, and sold, he called me.
Look, see, you know what? Hang on a second. I fight these villains off all the time. It's, see, that's what happens when you sit around and you sign Pops to the Creeper. He's got to be in on it.
Right. Always got a
Scooby Doo,
pop in.
where are you? Oh boy, Scooby Dooby Doo with epic rims.
These are my thumbs, and they dance. Boop 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 boop. Hey,
I am allowed to announce something. I'll give it to you since we haven't announced it anywhere.
all right.
So that series is getting a webtoon original.
Oh,
So it's going to be a comic, which is
okay.
really exciting because it's a series, like I said, that we love, and it's done. Like there's nothing else we could do with it now, but now we're going to be able to work with an art team to kind of bring it
Into a different.
to that new medium and sort of show people the story from beginning to end again.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We're doing paranormal news, paranormal stories. You can share news stories that you find. You can share your own personal stories. Share whatever you want in the paranormal realm. I will read it and share it right here on stream with all of you. You got to share it in our Discord. ! Discord for the link.
When I got to TSR and I got the opportunity to audition for a novel, because one of the things we did in the department, everybody wanted to write novels because they were so successful.
Yeah.
But we set up a program where if you wanted to write a novel and you hadn't done fiction before, you had to audition for it and audition for it blind. So you were competing against. We opened up the submission process, so we were getting in writers. Elaine Cunningham, Christy Golden, Mary Herbert are all authors who I brought into the company through the slush submission and the audition process. But anybody in-house that wanted to write a novel had to compete with them.
I need my calculator for that. What the? Hello, Movember, and thank you for all the donations.
Hi, Movember.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
November.
Oh, shit.
Welcome on in. I appreciate you.
Welcome in.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for popping in.
For those that don't know, Movember just popped in here, guys. Our
Oh
team.
shit! We have to keep the prostate checking off camera. Shit. Do we have to delete the VOD? Do we have to delete the VOD now?
No, it just moves
to
to the OnlyFans.
Are you sure? Oh, it moves to the OnlyFans. Huh.
Right.
Okay, so check out the OnlyFans if you want to see the actual checking.
We don't
of
have
the prostate.
OnlyFans. We don't.
Yo.
We don't.
Abby,
Shenanigans aren't
speak for
suing everyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Pixel Nips has an OnlyFans. I've seen it.
All right,
Guys, our
so-
team is at $4,513 raised now. 4,000. There we go.
You guys are fucking amazing.
We're at 4,513.
Woo, we're doing
Guys,
this. We're doing
We're
this.
doing this. Yes.
I'm doing this. You guys do whatever you want.
You ready?
No.
You ready?
No. How far? I'm so far away.
There you go, guys. Alt F4.
I can't.
You didn't need to see that. Clipping.
Here, push.
I will show my titties for 10 biddies.
Right?
will.
Titties for
I
bitties.
will.
Thank you. Look at that clip.
Oh,
will.
Billy.
Oh my god. Oh my. I'm sorry. I need to go on BRP.
And we are back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around, hanging out through the break. Appreciate all of you. I guess see you all like chatting amongst yourself. Love to see that. Meeting each other and getting to know each other again. Thank you so much for being here, and of course, thank you to Namven for being here. We started off the show talking about Major League Baseball. Hopefully, I didn't like just completely twins talk you the whole thing. This is my experience, and that's the only experience that matters. But you know. But we talked about all kinds of stuff with that. I like talking about the radio versus TV, and kind of how the feel is, and some of the thoughts on players and the different eras of baseball and movies and all of that pop culture tie-ins with baseball as well. That was all fun fun things to talk about.
And it's great for me because those are top conversational pieces on baseball that I usually never talk about. So I was like, all right, let's talk about
let's
this.
do
This
it.
is new.
Let's
I like
do it. Nice. Of course, we talked about why we love music, and it kind of turned into like, I don't know, musical theory, our thoughts on music, and not just our love for it, but like some of the other tie-ins. We talked about, you know, what makes a good this musical instrument, and what musical instruments are used in bands, and bands sounding the same versus not sounding the same, and why they both work, and all that kind of stuff. So, and of course we chatted amongst each other and in chat about music as well, and instruments. So, and making sure that Namven knows that he should do something on stream that's musical.
Well, I do. I got a ukulele right here. I mean, I could, play a little bit of, maybe play some ukulele on stream.
There you go. There you go. That should just be a redeem. While you're playing the game,
I've actually thought
have it
about
be a
it,
redeem.
yeah.
Be like 5 seconds of ukulele, and you're just do, and you can make up words or whatever you want.
I'll give you a 30-second ukulele song.
There you go.
Here's the redeem. You give me a word, I'm going to use that word in the song somewhere, or make the song about it. You say pizza, here's the song about pizza.
There you go. There you go. Drake Vegas says that's a handsome uke.
Yeah, it's my Gibson. It's actually electric.
Oh wow.
So I can plug it into my interface here, and I can actually record it. Sad thing is, I've never recorded anything with it, not yet, but it's been on my list of things to do.
Nice.
Add a ukulele to a song.
Posting this again so that it doesn't get lost? Yes, for sure. I'll definitely get to that once we get started.
Mm-hmm.
I do like, so my wife has 2 stepdads, and both of them play ukulele, and I'm like, I should. Maybe that's where I need to go, because like my part of my guitar problem was like my pinky is so when I'm pushing with like my other fingers, my pinky is either here or it's way out here. I don't get in between. It can't fit. There's like this much range that I can't do with my pinky. It's either over here or it's over here. I don't get in between, and so there's a lot of stuff I can't play with it, and it's like, well, maybe ukulele has a little bit less a different size and shape to the handle and the grips. Maybe I have to figure that one out. So
I would definitely say, because I mean it's only 4 strings, it's a lot smaller. I definitely say go for it. I love the ukulele. I've been playing the ukulele for a little while now, and it's just a lot smaller. And
Okay.
you don't have to worry about your pinky having to go all the way out here for anything. You can just keep it up here, and it sounds good.
Nice. Maybe I'll check that out. I did hear that there are 2 types of ukuleles as far as the playing, that once you get up, that's like like soprano through something, it's one type, but then when you get to a different range, like all of where your fingers are completely different.
Oh yeah. I can't remember the name of it either. I know exactly what you're talking about though.
And I was like, oh, so I should make sure to figure out which one I want to do and do that one and not the other one.
Yeah.
So.
I love this little one. It's a nice little one. That is when I used to work from home. I would sit if I were like on hold with a company that I needed to work with or have a meeting with, if they were late, I'd just turn my mic off, turn my camera off. I'd sit there and play the ukulele for a few minutes, and then come in and drop it down. That's why I have a stand over here specifically. So like, it was just one of those things I'd pick up and I got 5 minutes. I'm going to play a little bit of the ukulele.
Nice.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier than picking up like my Telecaster or an acoustic in this chair.
Yeah.
It just kind of sits and playing. Okay, that's fun. Put it back.
Okay. Nice. So there you go, guys. If you missed the earlier half, there's just a little sneak peek of what you missed on the first half. You have to go back and watch the VOD and catch it all. Of course, our next topic is we're going to talk retro games. We're going to talk JRPGs. We're going to talk about all of those things. The question that was put into the chat was, so it doesn't get lost, what generation of consoles do you start considering your games being retro when it comes to retro games? And I know this is a big thing these days. What's a retro game? What is retro?
Oh my gosh. It as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize that more and more consoles are being considered retro, and my heart dies. I would say, in my own personal experience, retro is not on a base of set of years. It's based on a set of generations. How many generations of consoles do you go through before one becomes retro?
I see.
So you have the current generation, you have the next one that's coming out soon, you have the previous and the one before that and the one before that. So it goes current 3 generations. The 4th is what is now retro.
Okay. I always felt
that's me.
I personally always felt it as an eye of the beholder sort of thing. where it's like, it depends on who you are. You know, if you're, you know, in your 40s, 50s, then maybe like Atari and, you know, that kind of Atari might be where the retro is. And then you hit someone like me, who's, I'm not going to say my age, who's like Nintendo and Super Nintendo, those are retro. And even now I'm like, Nintendo 64, yeah, that's retro.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, well, those aren't retro. I know it is. I know they are. I know PlayStation 2. I was just talking about how you know, I love Tenchu Stealth Assassins on the PlayStation 2, and I've been playing the new Assassin's Creed game, and I'm like, man, it's giving me modern Tenchu vibes. And yeah, that's totally retro. Virtual Fighter is totally retro. But, you know, really, for me personally, in my brain hole, my mind space, when I don't have to think about it, anything 80s and 90s, I kind of consider retro. So.
But then the question becomes, when does the 2000s become retro, right?
Right, exactly.
Because like at some point, we're kind of at the same spot where, you know, in the 80s, when the NES came out and we were in the early 90s, we wouldn't say the NES was retro. It was just the previous generation.
Yeah.
I mean, the NES had games being released until 95. So
right.
Here's that. But like, when does 2000s become retro? Like PlayStation 2, GameCube, the Xbox, the original Xbox, and you get 360. The Wii, yeah. Like I don't even want to think about the Wii being retro.
There is a streamer that I play. There's a streamer that I follow. They have Wii Wednesday. And it's like, yeah, we're playing all these retro games. And I'm like, no, my whole life is a lie. But yeah, that's why I keep saying it depends on you. It depends on the person. For me, I say it's in the eye of the beholder. Whoever it is, however old that person is, defines what retro is, because it's based on that person.
Right. And that's totally legitimate, like legitimate thing to say, because like when I think of retro, I still think like NES, SNES, Sega Genesis. I think 64 to me is like the top of it.
Yeah.
But when you start getting PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox original, it's really, really hard for me to call that retro, because that's what I like really grew up on. Because I mean, I played the NES as a kid, even though I'll tell you guys my age. I'm 32. So I was born 7 years after the NES came out, but I still grew up playing the NES. I'll say that's retro, but like my formative years in gaming, like getting a GameCube, getting a PS2, people are like, "Oh, this is so retro. GTA 3 is so retro."
Oh no!
I will start throwing hands. I will start throwing hands, because I wouldn't say it's retro, you know.
Yeah.
But you gotta find where does it start and what does it end.
I was in a board game shop with a bunch of friends this weekend for a friend's birthday, and I was in a board game shop in the Mall of America, and I was going through them, and they had a Metal Gear Solid board game. And I was like, no, snake. And somebody's like, oh man, that's a retro reference. And I'm like, no. And it was like the guy that worked in the shop, right, said that.
Yeah.
And I looked over at him, and I'm like, he's like probably in his like late 20s, early 30s. And I'm like, oh.
You shut your mouth.
Because I did the snake. And then it went, so yeah.
I think that where I realized that I was starting to get to that, like, I mean, obviously our mortality, we're getting older, it's a thing. I realized that some of the games I grew up with were like not even just considered retro, they're considered ancient. I was perusing Reddit, and somebody mentioned that the first Mario game they ever played was Super Mario Brothers Advance 4. And they were like, oh, so nostalgic, so retro. Like, that came out 14 years after Mario 3, which to my recollection was the first Mario game I played on the NES. And I'm like, you consider that retro? Just Thanos snapped me into dust, dude. I'm done. I don't want this anymore.
All right, I'm gonna age myself. My first Mario game was the original Donkey Kong on an arcade kit.
Yeah.
On a box, on an old arcade box. And that's before Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Which is also before Super Mario Brothers.
Hey, Donkey Kong's still good. I still enjoy me some Donkey Kong.
You know, for years I kept saying, I remember playing Donkey Kong. And I also remember there being these other levels that happened after the third, the little pyramid tower that you drop.
Yeah.
I'm like, there were other levels that came after that, and I want to find that box in that game of whatever. For years, I sat on that hill with my flag defending it, and then my hill just kind of crumbled when I was perusing games, and I was like, oh, they made a Donkey Kong 2? And I looked at it, and it was all those levels. I was like, son of a bitch!
Oh, I wasn't even looking for Donkey. You were in the right realm.
Yeah. It was still Donkey Kong. It was just I remembered also playing Donkey Kong 2.
Mm-hmm. Lyric Loss says Duck Hunt Super Mario Brothers set. So on top of retro games, I collect them too. So I got a bunch in my entertainment center living room, and I have a Super Mario Duck Hunt as well as the NES Zapper still, and the original NES. And I just don't have a CRT anymore.
I had mine. I sold mine. I traded it in because that's what you do. You trade in the game, sell the game to upgrade your new game. My wife still has the original Nintendo, and she says it doesn't work. I haven't tried it. We got it back. We gave it to somebody to fix it. We got it back like 5 years later. It never got touched. And now I'm like, I should just try it and see if I can figure it out, see what's wrong with it, and maybe find someone to get it fixed, because I'm sure it's something just minor, right?
Yeah.
So we'll try and figure it out. So if you collect games, when it comes to it, we're gonna narrow it down to original Nintendo, right? We're just gonna narrow it down. What is your cream of the crop? What is the one you're most proud of? Like, I've got this original Nintendo game. What is the one that you like? If you were there with a bunch of other Nintendo enthusiasts, which one would you show off to everybody?
I do have a complete in-box Zelda 2.
Okay.
Comes with the original map, the cartridge, the box, everything is still in the box itself. It's not factory sealed, unfortunately.
That's okay.
I'd show off that one. I don't really
want to take it out so you can be like, look, it's in the gold case or whatever.
Yeah. No. When I found it, I found it out in the wild at some random store, and I was like, is this actually complete in box? Like, it has everything, the inserts, and they were like, oh yeah. They opened and showed me. I went, these are really hard to find. This thing is almost 40 years old, and you don't
tell them that. You don't tell them that. You're like, it's unopened.
I wasn't saying that to them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's why I bought it, because when I saw that they actually had all the map and everything, I went, I have to get this. I have to, because you don't see these anymore. And I don't think they knew, because they didn't sell it. I mean, it was a little expensive, but it wasn't like what I expected it to be. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that today. That's fine.
Do you have a game that you want to get because of how cool it is, and do you have a game that you're nostalgic for that you want to get that you don't have yet?
I got a story for you.
Okay.
So there's one game in particular, and it's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
Okay.
So they released 3 different versions. They have the Super Nintendo version and the Sega Genesis version, which if anybody's played the game, they've probably played one of those. They also made a version for the NES, but because it was so late in the NES life cycle, they didn't make a lot of copies because they weren't trying to push it, but they wanted to try to appease people who bought NES. We had that game as a kid. I don't know where we got it. We got it at like a used gaming store or something. And as the years have gone on, we've lost it. I don't know if it got lost in a move. I don't know if it got maybe we let a friend borrow it and we never saw it again. I have no idea what happened to it. 20 years later, I find out that a cartridge of it costs about $300.
Bop! It cost how much?
About $300. Last I checked.
Wow. So what you're saying is they borrowed it and then they sold it for beer money.
Well, I think. Well, I hope not. We were probably kids, because I haven't seen that thing since I was a kid. But I have a feeling that it wasn't that expensive back then. And then obviously, as time goes on, people realize the internet becomes a big thing, and people are like, I want to get into collecting. Oh, what about this game? Oh my gosh, they only made 20,000 copies because there was no reason to make more, because the SNES was the hot thing. The Sega Genesis PlayStation was already on the way. So it was just a matter of time that it would balloon in price. And I found out about it on a YouTube video. I was watching this YouTube guy talk about the 20 most expensive things in his collection, and that was on the list. And I started freaking out.
Oh no.
Because I'm like, I went through all my games. Like I have like 70, 80 to 100 NES cartridges. I'm going through every single one. And I'm like, it's not here. Oh no. So now I want to get another copy.
So here's the question. If you found it.
Yeah.
You were searching for everything. I found this. Would you have sold it?
No.
then it really doesn't matter how much it's worth, right?
No.
It's just cool to know that other people think it's worth that.
Yeah, because like I'm like a half active collector. Like there's some game stores around me that I'll go and just take a look at what they got. That's how I got the Zelda. So it's never really about buying it to make money. It's just I like to collect them. So it'd be really nice if I still had it, because if I wanted to add to my collection, I'm gonna either have to get really lucky and find it somewhere where somebody's only selling it for like $5 and like you don't know what you have, and I feel bad because it's worth a lot more than that, or shell out the money to get it. It's hard. Spending $500 on a cartridge is difficult to do.
Nice. Tuck says it's the Mandela effect. It's split into 2 games in this universe, the Mario and the Duck Hunt. No, I just looked, and we have the split version downstairs. They did both. They did the split version and the regular one.
Mm-hmm.
So they have.
You can buy either one. The one that everybody knows, because it was a pack-in title with every NES, was Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. So I think the NES sold like
a lot.
In the United States, I think it sold about 40 million units. So you got to think that was a pack-in for at least half of them. That's a lot of copies of that game out there.
Yeah. Lyric says, I have a big old, I have the OG NES. The circuit board has some corrosion and won't play all games. Oh, that's a bummer.
That's the one thing about like retro, because I think a big reason why I like retro games is I love preservation. There's so many things that we go through in life when it comes to games and like lost media. I think lost media is one of the worst things that could happen to us. When there's something you experienced as a kid that just no longer exists today, you can't find it online, you can't find it anywhere. It's very important to make sure that we still keep these little relics, at least to me. I know a lot of people don't feel that way. But like, just as an example, when we could talk about retro, I have an emulated Windows 98 machine on my gaming PC. And because there's some games that you can't really play actively on a Windows 11 PC. You know, there's compatibility issues. Like, so if I really wanted to go back and have that nostalgic trip of playing Stunt Track Driver, the Hot Wheels racing game, I have to play it on original hardware.
Yeah.
It's neat. Let's just go. It's neat.
Lyric says Super Mario Brothers 2 was the one I played the most, totally using Game Genie cheat codes, and I still have the Game Genie 2. Nice. Super Mario 2. I'm sorry, people. Super Mario 2 is the best Mario, and it's not even a Mario game originally.
that is a claim of the century.
Yeah, that is my favorite. If you're like, if you could play any Mario game, if they're like, sit down, Nick, I want to play a game with you. Let's play a Mario game, an old school Mario game. I'd be like, Mario 2. Let's do it.
I like Mario 2. I wouldn't put it as my favorite, but it is fun. I think it gets a lot of bad rep.
It really does. And it wasn't a Mario game originally. You know, they came to America and they slapped Mario in there to sell it, and it was what it was. You know, obviously Mario 3 was something special, but
yeah, Mario 2. So I grew up with. I think another reason why I like the retro games and why I play them so much is I see my brother Sebastian Leo in chat. I also have an older sister, so there's about 9.5 years between me and my sister.
Okay,
there's 4 years between me and my brother. So like when my brother was playing the new hotness, a lot of times I'd sit down and play the NES or the SNES or the Sega Genesis, because, you know, he's playing the PlayStation or 64. I want to play a game. I'll play these old ones. So I ended up just falling in love. There's a certain level of charm to these retro games that I just don't think exist in nowadays games.
Apparently, I just Googled it. It says there is a Super Mario Brothers 2, and Japan felt that it was too difficult and too similar to the first Mario Brothers, so they released Doki Doki Panic as the Mario 2 in the US.
It was supposed to be called. They ended up releasing it as the Lost Levels, which is on the Super Mario All Stars. So if you get Super Mario,
is that what that is? I played that. Yep. I played that. Yeah, that is
the original Mario 2, and it is true. I have played it. It is ball-bustingly hard. The game is just not fair to you. I can see why they didn't want to sell it in the States.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, where are we? Had the Game Shark for the old Pokemon games. A lot of Pokemon. I've seen Pokemon get brought up a couple times tonight. Are you a Pokemon fan? I mean, we talk JRPGs and stuff. Would you consider Pokemon a JRPG, or is it a little bit separate?
Absolutely, JRPG for me. Turn-based combat, focusing on your stats of strength, defense, speed, health. To me, it's a JRPG. I know some people may not agree, but to me, 100% JRPG. I did grow up playing Pokemon. Pokemon Red and Blue were the ones that my brother and we played the crap out of when we were kids. And then I really love Gold and Silver. I remember getting that, I think, for Christmas one year. And then I'll never forget this, actually, because Easter's coming up. I got Pokemon Sapphire in my Easter basket from the Easter Bunny.
Ooh.
So the first 3 generations I loved, and then I fell off on Generation 4. I came back to Sword and Shield on the Switch, and then I was back into it. But yeah, I say I love Pokemon, but I'm definitely not as an experienced Pokemon player as a lot of people.
Yeah. What are some of your other go-to JRPGs?
So, I mean, Final Fantasy will always be my favorite.
I think that's kind of the stick, isn't that like the stick that everything is judged by is Final Fantasy?
Yeah, and like it's so good for so many good reasons. But also there's a Suikoden, which is a game that I grew up playing. I'm actually streaming Suikoden 2 as we speak. Well, obviously not right now, but I am playing it on stream right now. Suikoden's an amazing series. I love Star Ocean. There are like the Tales games, like Tales of Symphonia, Tales of Berseria. I love those games. God, I'm just like I'm trying to think of all these JRPGs that I love so much, and I've played a little bit of Breath of Fire, Dragon Quest. Amazing games.
Did you ever play
games?
So I played a game. I was not a big, besides Final Fantasy, I played Final Fantasy just like everybody else did. I played a game called Exodus Ultima. I had one of my favorite games. One of the games that, like, looking back, I'm like, God, I was playing an RP, like I was playing D&D game before I knew that D&D was actually in existence.
Yeah.
But that was very much turn-based as well, where you got the guys on the board and each character gets their own action. Were the other was that game and were Ultima games considered JRPGs, or are they just like kind of thematically similar?
I would say they're probably considered JRPGs, just because, like, for example, Final Fantasy 1 on the NES was heavily inspired by D&D, but people call it in JRPG, like to the point where in Japan, one of the monsters was the Beholder from D&D. And when they translated it over to the United States, they had to change that monster.
Yeah, because they didn't own the copyright.
They did not own it. So, like, you could really see, like, just that little nugget of information shows how much an influence that games like Final Fantasy, D&D had on Final Fantasy. So for Ultima, I'd say 100% JRPG. Turn-based combat, focus on stats like that. Easy peasy.
What would you consider the most modern? It's not retro. What is the contemporary when it comes to
RPG.
Those games?
I think games like Fallout and Elder Scrolls do a really good job of that. It doesn't have the same feel for obvious reasons.
Yeah. It's also not like not necessarily the turn-based either.
Yeah, but it's still reliant on percentage checks, skill checks. It's relied on stats and skills. And the role-playing element is there. You're playing this nameless character that doesn't have their own voice, and you're dictating everything they do, how they react to certain characters, how they push the story and the narrative along. 100%. I would say games like I think Mass Effect is also another great option, even though it's not turn-based combat that a lot of people would say a JRPG has to have. I don't think that's true. But Mass Effect is great when it comes to choosing your own, how you want the story to go.
Yeah. We saw a remodeling of, was it Final Fantasy VII, the one with Cloud, the one everybody knows.
Yeah, I love it.
We saw the
favorite game.
We saw the remaster of that from like the way back when machine, right? Mm-hmm. Is there any retro game? What is a retro game that you look back and you're like, God, I wish they'd either redo this in with modern everything, or just I wish there was a modern version of this game?
It's hard because most of the games I would say need it have already done it to an extent, because the Suikoden HD remasters just recently came out, but it's a lot different than Final Fantasy Remake, because Final Fantasy 7 they rebuilt it from the ground up with modern graphics.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I would say Suikoden.
Okay,
perfect timing.
I noticed somebody in the Tangia dungeon just got that Ghostbuster chest piece. It's not the best looking piece of that gear, but it is a really, really sweet piece. It is from my, if anybody ever played Stream Raiders, my only full skin Stream Raider skin was my Ghostbusters Necromancer. And it was a little dude with a ghost trap. And so I've incorporated it into the Tangia dungeon. And that is one of the best sets of gear that you can get right now in Tangia here on the Epic Realms channel. So some of the best stats. So whoever just got that chess piece, congratulations. you're going to want to equip that right away. I don't know who it was. I didn't see who it was, but congratulations to whoever it was. That was me. Tux. Tux. Congratulations, Tux. Speaking, I mean, Tux coming on over, running Algos United, the new spiritual successor, as they called it, to Stream Raiders, now known as Algos United. So we can definitely, if you guys were ever into Stream Raiders, you guys definitely need to check out Algos United. There's a little linky link to go and check it out. So it can only be equipped at level 12, and well, you better gain those levels, Tux. Get those levels. You just saw you got a lightsaber. Oh, nice, Red. Nice, congratulations. Lightsabers have some decent stats.
Well, 14. I'm making my way up.
Making my way downtown.
Walking fast.
So guys, go and check out Algos United live. I can't wait. They're gonna do their the next session of is the next one gonna be considered alpha or beta testing? They're gonna be doing some more testing hopefully soon. So they're working out all those kinks. They just had a stream a dev stream this weekend, so I hung out a little bit for that while I could. But definitely go and check out Algos United, guys. We are here. Namven, we are here. We are here at the potluck moment of the night.
So pretzels. I love pretzels. Let's talk about pretzels. Yeah, we had a pretzel song, and one of my favorite snacks of all time ever since I was a kid was pretzels, and I got some right here. So we can talk about that all day. But no, we're gonna talk about probably wrestling.
I mean, we can talk about wrestling. Yeah.
I'm down. I am so.
We're calling it, or they're calling Algos United Early Access. Is what? Okay, I'm just making sure. I wasn't sure because I've heard it. I've heard beta. I've heard alpha. I've heard early access. I'm like, what is the official terminology? So there we go. There we go. We're talking about. I mean, okay, so. Wrestling, I can't knock. We're going to talk about wrestling. If anybody who doesn't want to talk about wrestling, stick around anyhow, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Are you excited for WrestleMania?
I am. I am definitely excited for WrestleMania. I think the whole Cody Rhodes, John Cena, when John Cena flipped to heel. I'll be like I mentioned to you, but I've only been watching wrestling really closely for the past about 2.5 years now, so I'm still relatively new.
Okay.
But I understood that John Cena was this big face. He was the face of the company for so many years. Everybody loved him. He didn't really have a heel turn. And to anybody who doesn't know what that means, heel means like villain.
Yeah, he's never been
a villainous
really
character.
Guy. People booed him, but he was still playing the good guy.
Yeah, he was a good guy, a superhero type deal.
Mm-hmm.
When he turned on Cody Rhodes during the promo with The Rock, me and the people I was watching it with, we all audibly gasped. Like, oh, like no way. Like it was such a huge moment.
It wasn't even just that he did it. It was how it was done in the story, the context of the story that it was built into.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you look at, first look back, maybe you don't know this. You look back, there was this huge feud between John Cena and The Rock. The Rock went off to make movies and was gone for 5 years.
Yeah.
And John Cena just decided he'd start talking smack about The Rock, leaving and abandoning them. Rock didn't like that, came back, turned into a 2-year feud. They did 1 whole year of a feud, and then they wrestled at WrestleMania, and John Cena lost to The Rock. Then they built an entire year, again, building up to John Cena's redemption, where he finally beat The Rock, and the torch essentially was passed. And then The Rock went off to make movies in Hollywood. And part of the big thing with the feud is John Cena was like, F you, you abandoned us to go to Hollywood.
Yeah.
And now John Cena is in Hollywood. Right? And so then we're sitting there and we're talking about the whole concept is Cody Rhodes selling his soul to The Rock. And how he'll give him everything. He'll open doors for him in Hollywood, and The Rock has all these powers and can do all these things for Cody Rhodes and his family, and all their dreams come true and everything they want. He just needs to sell his soul to The Rock. And then when Cody says no, John Cena does his turn, and then you're like, oh, that's it. John Cena sold his soul to The Rock, and that's why he's in Hollywood. This all comes full circle to 10, 20 years ago. This old story, this way back when story, and it ties directly into that. And it's like, dear God, that's long-term storytelling right there.
Absolutely. And as a kid, I didn't understand the level of storytelling that like things like WWE and obviously AEW does it too, but I didn't understand like, well, yeah, I mean,
they used to, you know.
But like, I guess I didn't. I just saw it as these people, these superheroes doing all these crazy moves on each other in a ring. I didn't understand like how much of the theatrics that actually went into it with the storylines and the different angles that people look at it. And I think that's actually why I started really enjoying wrestling today. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like watching a soap opera with more violence.
With more violence, it's better now. It's better in the last like 2 years than it's been in a very long time. The storytelling is consistent. The stories that you're watching are consistent. They don't just do something and then it just disappears because somebody didn't like what was going on, and then they're like they'll finish whatever it is they were doing and move on, and they'll call back. There was something I was always saying in the 90s in the Attitude Era was the big thing for those that don't know. In the 90s, there's when it was at its hottest, right? There's the 80s era, the Hulk Hogan, Say Your Prayers, Eat Your Vitamins, rock and wrestling era. Then there's the Attitude Era, and then there's kind of now. And in the Attitude Era, they had this thing where it's like it didn't matter. You had to watch because all of the stories were so interwoven with each other. Like, yes, these two guys were having a match, but this guy didn't like this person over here who had a problem with this person that ties back to this thing over here. Like, it was all this big, like, they were all a group of people that were all backstage at the same place. They weren't all just individual stories, which is kind of what happened in the later part of the John Cena era. Was it's like, okay, the pay-per-view is over. It's Monday night. Okay, well, we're going to take this guy, and they're going to feud for a month. And we're going to take this guy and this guy. They're going to feud for a month. And this guy and this, they're going to feud for a month. This guy. Okay, and then that's the pay-per-view. And you only see those two guys doing those two things. Every once in a while, you might see a mixed tag with two of the groups. But it's like it was just their story. And there wasn't any, like, interaction or cross-interaction or, like, this guy's angry because this person did that thing and that person did this thing. And it was much more, I guess, boring. Whereas now it's like it's so interwoven. You're like, okay, well, you've got who's the U.S. champion? Yeah,
LA Knight.
LA Knight. You got him. Well, his whole story is like it's intermingled with like 5 other people, and how he got there is it's not that it's convoluted, but there was a lot of moving parts to get to where he's at. And all of the feuds, and they can touch back on any one of those feuds anywhere along the way, or the Cody Rhodes story, right? Like the Kevin Owens Randy Orton feud is directly tied to the Cody Rhodes story. It's directly tied to the John Cena story. It's directly tied to the Roman Reigns story.
The bloodline.
The bloodline. It's all directly tied to the bloodline story. It's all tied to the CM Punk story. And so you look at this thing, it's like every single story has a tie-in to every other story somewhere along the line. And to me, that makes good storytelling. It's like watching a TV show. It's like watching the Avengers. You know, it's like watching the Avengers Endgame and being like, this is a complete unit with all of these other movies, as opposed to watching, okay, well, this is the Justice League movie that really isn't tied to anything, and it's kind of having representation to, you know, some of the previous Superman, but not really, you know.
I think what a lot of us, especially for me, and I can't speak for you as well, but I think what you're talking about when you have feud, and how it's so different from what we have today, it's no longer predictable. Now we can probably see certain things happening, like as a fan who's watching or invested in the storylines, there's going to be some that you could see happen. Like we called the whole the Jade Cargill and Naomi situation.
Yeah.
We call that like weeks before it was even a thing.
Yeah.
But there are things like the whole John Cena thing. I don't think any of us saw that coming. And that's what makes it interesting. Because like you were saying about 10 years ago, maybe everything you saw, you were just like, I saw that coming.
Here's the thing. Like I want to go to the Jade Cargill thing.
Mm.
Did we all see it coming? Yes. If they didn't do it, would we all have been disappointed? Also, yes.
Yeah, agreed.
Like, we saw it coming. We knew it was coming. We wanted it to come. And they gave it to us. And now we have it. And it's the first time in a very long time that there's been a women's match at WrestleMania that had nothing to do with a championship.
Yeah.
And that's important. Like, being on WrestleMania in a match that has no championship on the line is especially, it means you're telling an amazing story and possibly should be given the championship at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when it comes down to, again, it comes like predictability. Like when every single match at WrestleMania has some type of belt attached to it or some type of hardware, you know, it's a lot more predictable on how that's gonna play out for the most part. But when you have something like a good storyline that there is no changing of the belts, it's just the whole WWE universe is so involved on this whole story. They want to see the conclusion of it. That is more important to us than who wins a belt. Sometimes, not always, but in a lot of times.
And sometimes the winning the belt isn't like the winning the belt is cool. You know, Jey Uso, like, yeah, that's how it started. That was what's important. But now I'm like, I don't care if the belt's on the line. Like this can be a non-title match, and I'm gonna want to watch this match now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we just saw the I can't remember the name of the what type of match it was, but like CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. It was like no rules or whatever. I can't remember the name of it. But like watching something like that makes for good television, makes for good storytelling about how much they hate each other, and there wasn't even a belt.
No,
it's just we need to right here, right now. Let's do it. Okay, let's go on for it.
Oh, I know what I want to ask you. Since you're not as huge of a wrestling fan as I am. So you don't know, and you've gotten back into it more recently. So there are things that you may not know.
Yeah.
So I want to get your take because you are me being a person who did wrestling for a large number of years. I was in the ring. I've been watching it since WrestleMania 3 and I haven't stopped. Dedicated, and I watch TNA, I watch AEW, I used to watch Ring of Honor, not so much anymore. I watch MLW, I watch New Japan. I try and keep track of all of that stuff, right? Just to give the background. In comparison, like I look at wrestling different than a lot of wrestling fans look at wrestling because there are things they don't see, especially like the WWE fan base who watches mostly just that.
Yep.
Do you want to see Nick Aldis wrestle a match?
I do.
Okay.
I actually kind of do.
Okay. That makes me so happy. He was so amazing. He was the NWA world champion. He's the one that brought NWA back from the brink of nothingness. And he made that championship credible, and he made me go, I could see him against Roman Reigns in like a crossover. They crossed over. And as far as legitimacy, as a legitimate champion goes, and when he came in as an announcer, I was just hoping and praying that was a transitionary role until he got a match. And now with Randy Orton, I'm like, I really want to see this short feud, you know, even though it's last minute because of an injury. I want to see Nick Aldis, and they hinted at it. And I popped. I got up out of my seat. I was like, oh my God, are they doing it? And then they teased it and didn't do anything. So I'm really hoping that Nick Aldis puts the suit away and gets on there and whoops Randy Orton's ass.
That's a great question because like the time that I didn't watch wrestling, when I was watching wrestling as a kid, to me, Nick Aldis wasn't really a thing.
No, he wasn't.
When I stopped watching. So like when I got back into WWE, I just know him as, you know, SmackDown manager.
Yeah, exactly. But you can tell he's big.
Oh my God. I can tell that these guys, they must have done something crazy in wrestling. You don't get to that position in the storytelling of the WWE universe without being some type of wrestler at some point. And that's why my good friend Shiny Dirt, who was in chat, she got me back in wrestling. She's kind of like you. She's been following it for years and years.
Hi, Shiny Dirt. I hope I get to see you a lot more often.
We're
friends now.
Yeah, you guys are best friends.
We're best friends now.
We're gonna get Epic into our wrestling watches.
We're gonna get rid of Namven. You just come in and take his place for the rest of the show.
Okay. I didn't want to go that far, but but she tells me all these things like, oh, so Nick Aldis was this guy and he was doing all these things. She gives me the lowdown and the explain it like I'm 5 situation. When I see him, even though I didn't get to watch it live, I do understand who he was and what he did and why he's important. And his attitude as the manager for SmackDown, I've been thinking it for a long time. Like, I can't wait. Even Adam Pearce, I would love to see Adam Pearce get back in the ring.
Yeah.
And just be like, all right, we're doing a match today. And I was like, my eyes would be glued to that.
And they teased an Adam Pearce versus Nick Aldis match. And I was like, I'd be down for that. Just something.
Oh, absolutely.
Just something. I want the WWE universe. I want the wrestling fans of WWE who don't know who Nick Aldis is to see Nick Aldis come out to the ring and wrestle, because it's like, to me, it's like when Drew McIntyre left. Like, yeah, he was Drew McIntyre, but when he came back, you're like, he is a legitimate threat. The second Drew McIntyre returned, you're like, he is a legitimate threat. I don't care if you're starting him off with Dolph Ziggler. He comes in and you're like, that is a legitimate, like, you look at him and you go, that guy is a legitimate world champion. I don't care if he's just getting here or not. He looks like he could carry the team. And so I get that whenever I see Nick Aldis, I'm like, I want to see him in that light.
Yeah, I felt the same way about LA Knight, because I actually do. I'm a big fan of LA Knight. I think it's because when I see LA Knight, it reminds me of the era that I watched in the early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
When I see him, I'm like, he's not quite Stone Cold Steve Austin, but like it reminds me of it has that.
He's Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and Chris Jericho are all rolled into one.
Yes.
And Chris Benoit.
Right.
Chris Benoit. Shout out to Chris Benoit's like legacy in wrestling, and that's it. But you know, he reminds me a little bit in the ring of a little bit of Chris Benoit as well.
Yeah, and I think it's cool for me as a new fan, because a lot of the wrestlers, like when I first started watching, like Edge was still a part of it. I know he's Adam Copeland now in AEW, but I remember watching Edge when I was younger, and then still seeing him do stuff in the Judgment Day. It was like, these guys are still here. And then I didn't realize that Triple H, I loved Triple H. He was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Now he's the head of creative. I'm like,
yeah, he's the boss.
It's like almost like I never left. Like I missed all the stories.
I mean, when you look at it,
I did leave.
The D-Generation X is running the company. Road Dogg is in charge of all the house shows. Every house show when they go on tour on the road, Road Dogg's in charge.
Oh, I didn't know.
When they're on TV, Hunter's in charge. All the new up-and-comers at NXT in development, Shawn Michaels is in charge.
Yep.
Like DX is in charge.
Yeah, WWE sponsored by DX.
Right?
Yeah, it's been interesting because like I also know that like I think as a teenager, even back then I knew that it was, and I hate it when people say it's fake.
Me too.
And I want to ask you like when because you mentioned earlier like when people say it's fake, you know, you hear it all the time. Like, how do you describe it? If somebody were to come up to you and say, what is wrestling if it's not fake? How do you describe it?
I usually ask them, what's your favorite TV show?
Okay.
What's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite movie? Oh, The Avengers. You know that's fake, right? Superheroes aren't real. You know that, right? There's people don't actually have superpowers and can fly. You do know that, right? Do you know how condescending that sounds for me to tell you that you're not a child? What are you, 5, and you still like watching superhero movies? I go, and then I go, do you think that is how you sound when you tell me that wrestling is fake? And they're like, I didn't think about it that way. I'm like, is it predetermined? Yes. Do they know ahead of time who's going to win? Yes. Are they doing all that shit for real? Yes. Can you get in that ring? Can you, who's criticizing that? Can you get in there and do what they're doing? No, you cannot. There are athletes. There are gold medal athletes that can't do what they do in the ring. There are actors who can't do what they do. There's a reason that when people like The Rock and Stone Cold or any of those wrestlers come on set and they go, roll, and they roll it and they nail it in one shot, and they're like, okay, do it again. And they're like, why, was that not good enough? Like, no, that was perfect. But we can't just take one take because you're going to piss all the other actors off because they need to do it 30 times.
Yup.
Like, yeah.
I love that answer because that's what I've tried to explain to people, because I still have some friends who are like, wrestling, you know, it's fake, right? It's like, I understand. It's choreographed. They're still doing these front flips off the ropes. They're still hitting each other with chairs. Yeah, they may be, you know, gimmicked tables, and it's not actually going through a table.
Oh, there's still in the day, in the Attitude Era, they were real tables.
Yeah, like
I know because I've gone through them. The chairs aren't gimmick. They would get
I've got the scars to prove it.
When they get hit on the head, it's a real chair. When they get hit across the back, it's a real chair.
Just because it's not an actual fight in the manner of two people hating each other and they want to deal damage to each other. Just because it's not that doesn't mean these people aren't athletes in their own right. You know, I know people don't like calling them athletes, but these people, they entertainer is probably a better way to put it, but they're athletes. Using their
I'll say athletes.
Yeah. Like they're still using their body as a form of entertainment. It's no different than a baseball player or a football player.
No.
I am in really good shape. Why? Because I have to be in really good shape to do what I do. Wrestling is usually no different. I know we have some bigger wrestlers out there, but they're still putting in the work. They're still choreographing. They're still working to make sure that they don't hurt somebody. No botches happen.
Let me go one step further, because
yeah.
you've used a couple times the word choreographed. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they aren't at all. You get to the bell rings, they don't talk to each other. They haven't talked to each other all day. The bell rings and they go, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So not only are you doing the thing, so when they go 2 tackle, drop down, hip toss, arm drag, out of the ring, drop kick, you have to remember, okay, I have to go off. And then you have to do all of those things, but you have to remember what's coming next. And he just said it in your ear with 1,000 screaming fans. And you have to calculate all that and time it right and still do them.
Yep.
And so you have to do all of those things, and you're still communicating, and then you're on the ground and the other guy's outside, and then you look at the ref, and you're like, and it's like, all right, ref. Then they tell the ref, this is what we're going to do right next. And the ref goes over there and starts counting, and he gets to 4, and he looks down at the opponent. Okay, get in the ring. This is what we're doing next. So there is not even a choreograph. They're coming up with it on the fly some of the times. Now, nowadays, there's a lot more choreographed because they have producers and stuff. But when they do house shows, if you go to, this is why house shows are way better than anything else, because they're just calling in the ring half the time.
Oh yeah, no way.
So there you go, new appreciation.
No, 100%. I didn't know that, and now that I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I'd love to go to some house shows now.
House shows are always better than going to televised shows. Televised shows are fun because you're on television. Yay! I get to hold the sign and maybe be on TV, and you get to see the canon storyline play out. You go to a house show, and you're like, holy shit, CM Punk just beat Gunther for the World Championship. I mean, Gunther shows up with the championship next Monday on Raw, but you got to see it in person at a house show. That's cool as shit, right?
Oh, for sure.
So, actor lates. Actor late. I think it's supposed to be like athletes, actor-leets. Actor-leets is what some terms. Actor-leets.
Yeah, it's a production in its own right. It's entertainment, and I feel like people who just say that wrestling is fake is that they just assume that people who watch it believe it's real. Like these are all things that are happening on the fly and not talked about behind the scenes, not planned, and I mean, I'm sure there are some people who watch wrestling who legitimately believe that, sure, but I'd be willing to say the vast majority of us, we know.
It's still real to me, damn it. And if
it's
you know
still
that
real,
reference...
but yeah, but I'm still like, Braun Breaker is still running at insane
Oh
speed
my God, Braun Breakers.
and spearing somebody into oblivion, and it's still gonna really fucking hurt. You know what I mean? Like it's
when I saw Braun Breaker, I was like, man, he's not that big, he's not that impressive. Like, well, like he's no Brock Lesnar, he's no. And then you like see him doing things, and you're like, oh, okay, I see it. Like he's not super massive, he's not super jacked, but there's something special there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I can honestly, I give him, don't even give it a year, maybe 2 years. I could see him doing a big run towards the Universal.
Okay.
If a story comes up, but I think he has the personality, which I know we haven't seen a ton of it yet.
Right.
But I think he's got the in-ring ability. He's got the look. He's got the pedigree because he comes from a wrestling family.
Yeah.
Steiner Brothers. I think he's got a great makeup to make a Universal run at some point in his career.
I want to see a change. I don't care what it is. I just want to see an evolution or two. That was always my complaint about Roman. Roman Reigns was the Shield, like he was in the Shield, and then he was out of the Shield, but he was still the Shield Roman, and then he was the Shield Roman, and then he was the Shield. Like he didn't change. He didn't change at all until he became the Tribal Chief, and that's like now we see an evolution. And when that evolution hit, that's when the people were like, oh, whatever for him. And that all those characters I always see like. I have to look and go, okay, where are their evolutions and are they evolving and are they changing with the times and changing with the story and changing with the characters and how are they evolving? That's kind of my stick for the new guys is to watch like, has LA Knight evolved? He's the same guy. He's been in TNA. He hasn't really changed his shtick at all. Like it's new for the WWE. But even Steve Austin changed.
Yeah, he used to have hair.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as Stone Cold, the Stone Cold's character
Yeah.
still evolved. And he did
Triple
different
H.
things. Triple H evolved. Shawn Michaels evolved. You know, The Rock evolved. There's an evolution. If you're just in the like, this is working well, let's not change anything. Guess what? It's not going to keep working until it's too late.
The current Universal, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of evolution to him in his entire career.
Yeah. So saying he's gonna have to change it up. LA Knight's gonna have to change it up, whether it's his look or like add a new catchphrase or something. He's gonna have to change it up. So
yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the creative, they're gonna look at it and like right now, LA Knight is so over. People love him.
Right.
Every time he comes out, the whole stadium just goes crazy.
Right.
You know, don't fix what's not broken, but you know, once they start seeing those cracks, I agree. He's gonna have to do something to keep the crowd into it and be even more interesting for us as viewers and fans.
Yeah. All right, we've bored everybody who doesn't care about wrestling long enough. Namven, so tell us your take on the Black Collar Collective. When did you come into the Black Collar Collective, and what are you looking forward to in the upcoming event, and what do you plan on doing for your part of the Black Collar Collective charity?
Yeah, so I came into Black Collar a little bit in the middle of their history. I know Dreg has been around since the inception. We have a lot of our friends who are still there.
Yeah,
I came into Black Collar about
celebrated 5 years, I believe. Just today. Is it today? Dreg, if you're still in here, 5 years today or 5 years yesterday, something like that.
I think he's not. I can't remember if he's not entirely sure what exact day, but yes, we did celebrate our 5-year anniversary as a group, as a vessel for charity and doing good for the world. I came in here around, I would say about 2.5 years ago, roughly. I've known Drake since about 2021-ish, but I really got involved in the charity side and helping out about 2 or so years ago. It's been great. I love helping out with charity. I've done charity on Twitch before I even came to Black Collar, so it felt very natural for me to come in and help out with all the things we have going on. When it comes to AIM Youth Mental Health, for what I'm doing for it, I'll be doing some Mario speed run, and I say speed run because I am not a speed runner.
Right.
That's what makes it fun. Every time I die, I have to donate $1. I'm not allowed to pick up power-ups. I did this for one of our last ones and people loved it. I had a great time with it. We raised a lot of money.
Which Mario
segment? I think this time around I'm doing Mario World. I did Mario 3 on the last one.
Okay.
So we'll do Mario World, and it's basically every time I die, I donate $1. If I get a game over, I have to donate $5. If you donate anytime during my segment, I have to stop what I'm doing and drop down a pit and restart the level. That makes me donate another $1. And it is so fun because I am not a speed runner by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm going to play it like I am a speed runner. I'm trying to get to point A to point B, no power-ups, just go.
So you're going to have the timer up and everything?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. What is your time slot? Do you know?
I am kicking it off 6 p.m. on Friday, Eastern time.
There you go.
6 p.m. Eastern.
6 p.m. Eastern. That'll be 5 Central for those of you who are Central. That'll be 4 Mountain and 3 Pacific. Look at me go. Look at me with the math.
Look at you.
Look at me, almost like I have to do a podcast or I have to pay attention to time zones.
Hey, at my last job, I dealt with companies all over the country, and you'd be surprised at how many people they try to tell you about time zones. I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be 2 p.m. for me, which is gonna be 11 a.m. for you, and they say no, it's gonna be 2 p.m. for you. It's gonna be 5 p.m. for me. I'm like, but you're in California. Yeah, that's why it's gonna be 5 p.m. I'm like, you got those mixed up.
Yeah, Google it. Google it. Just type in 5 p.m. Central, 2 Pacific. There you go.
Well,
Google will tell you.
How do you tell them in a professional setting that they're wrong? It's like, it's really important that we have this meeting together, and you're telling me you're going to be getting it in at the wrong time. I have to let you know without offending you that you're wrong.
Yeah.
Please, just bear with me on this if you would.
Right. Just check it.
Just checking.
That's why sometimes I've had that where that's come up, and I'll put in we're meeting at 5, and then I'll put all of the time zones and I put them in order, numerical order, so you can visually see the shift, so that they know. And usually that's like, oh, I'm at this time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I usually play it all, and sometimes I'll play it off like, hey, I don't know which time zone you're in, but here are the different time zones. Like, we're gonna do this thing at 6. It's at 6 Central. I don't know what time zone you're in, but here's Pacific, here's Mountain, here's Central, here's this.
And here's Arizona, because they're the one state that doesn't observe daylight savings time. And it's, yeah, I would say just doing the charity, but I have friends all over Twitch and Discord, as far west as California, even as far as Hawaii. And then I got people who are in the UK, Ireland area. I've got friends in Norway. Time zones are so natural to me these days. It's wild.
They really just need to get rid of daylight savings. They just need to get rid of it.
I can agree with that. It served its purpose a long time ago. I don't think it's really something that we need in modern days, but at the same time, I do like the sun staying out a little longer sometimes. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's still staying out the same amount of time. It's just that we need to,
Yeah. Absolutely.
AIM is bridging the gap between research and access care for youth struggling. I'm just reading this out loud because it popped up. With their mental health by funding, and implementing evidence-based treatments, empowering youth to discover their own mental health solutions, and training and caring adults to create safe communities where children can grow and thrive. That is the charity that we're all working towards. That's going to be on the 26th, and I'm so looking forward to that. And you're the first. I mean, I know Dreg is doing the kickoff show, right?
Yeah.
Dreg almost always he usually does the start off, and then he does the big finale. But you're like the first streamer in the series.
Yes, I'll do the first segment for to get everybody ready to roll outside of Dreg doing the kickoff, and that's a big mantle to hold.
It is.
But I'm ready to do it.
What other things have you done in the past?
So I was a part of another community on Discord and Twitch called Datcom. I don't know if anybody, I know that people in the black collar who know who Datcom are. I'm still friends with quite a few of them that are in there, but we did charities very similar to what we do in black collar. I was a big part of that for about a year or so. And I think in 2021, we raised over $35,000 for charity, mostly for Trevor Project, but we also did Able Gamers, and we did Raid Trains, very similar to what we're doing in black collar.
Awesome. Guys, if you want to get in at the very beginning of the event, what you need to do is you need to click that little heart, and you need to follow Namven right the F now. Right now, click it. Click that heart and get over there, and you can get in on the ground floor of the big raid train that we're doing, and get in there right away. And of course, go and check out the retro games and the music that he's going to do down the road, that he's already promised that he's like, I'm totally doing that, like as a full, like all the time. He totally said that. Which he didn't. Yeah. I'm just being funny.
No, it should happen because I am working on a project. I don't know if I'm able to say what the project is, but I am doing original music for something coming up that we are all collectively working on right now, and I would like to stream that live.
Is that the thing that Dreg announced last time he was here?
Did he mention?
He mentioned the video game. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Okay, so we can talk about.
He talked about the. He mentioned the video game. We just got a boss key, by the way, for Tangier Dungeon. Probably don't use it tonight, but we can hold on to that. Maybe we have with people.
Yeah, we're making a game together, and I'm kind of like the lead developer on it, but I'm also going to be working on a lot of the original music. So I think that's going to be something I'll be doing live. Is like, because I have a bunch of different instruments, obviously, but I also have a bunch of programmed instruments like harp and dulcimer and all that. All these things that I can just play it on my keyboard here, and I would like to do that live to show people the process of it, and then that'll also be a good chance for everybody who's working on the game with us to put in their, I wouldn't say 2 cents, but giving me some ideas. I'm like, okay, let's try that and see how
putting out ideas. Yeah,
absolutely. Collaborating. That's a good way to put it.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was great. I loved it.
We're gonna have to do start a wrestling show or something.
Hey, let me know if you want to. I mean, like I said, my friend Shiny Dirt, she's also a huge wealth of knowledge. I get most of my information from her. I kind of look to her as my guiding light on wrestling stuff. And but yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. Guys, go and check him out. Check out that heart. Fill that heart up. Melty is in here. Melty, are you part of the thing this time around? Are you doing anything?
She is, I believe. I have the list right here.
You have the list?
Actually.
Okay. You want to run? You just want to run down the list of what people we're going to have? We'll just talk about all the people. I don't have the list in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, April 25th. I'm kicking it off. We have Vulgar Face afterwards, playing Overcooked 2. Bishop's Kitchen. I believe he doesn't it hasn't been said yet, but I think he's doing some cooking. He usually does a cooking.
He usually does a
stream.
cooking thing.
By
yeah.
the way, Bishop is an amazing cook. Give him some love. The guy knows how to make.
And and we get to see the puppy dog, right? We get to see the puppy dog.
Yeah, we get to see
I go there to see the puppy dog. I don't know about anybody else. He's cooking, and I want to watch it. Give that puppy dog a treat.
And then Saturday going into midnight, we have Wraith Girl. 2 p.m. to 8 a.m. I think we have some spots open. At 8 a.m. we have Kate's Elegy. 10 a.m. Sister Trashly. 12 p.m. Soraya B, a good friend of a lot of us here.
Syria B.
Or Syria B.
Yep.
2 p.m. is Me Shark, another old friend of mine from the Datcom days, super amazing guy. 5 p.m. Drag Vega. 6 p.m. Yours truly, Epic Realms. By the way, this is all in Eastern time. I apologize if I'm
Eastern time, guys. Eastern time.
Eastern time. 8 p.m. Arcade Chris is doing his usual music and being amazing.
I'm excited to raid into Arcade Chris. Just saying.
Oh, absolutely.
I check out Arcade Chris every Sunday. Like he's on my schedule. Like,
dude.
When it's Sunday, I'm like, do I have something going on? Nope. All right, check out Arcade Chris and go listen to some music and play a game.
Yeah, everybody in chat right now, if you don't know who Arcade Chris is, go give him a look. The dude is super talented, super great guy. 10 p.m. is Miso Thorny doing some crafts. Miso, another one of our wonderful members of Black Collar. She is lovely.
Miso's one of my mods.
Yeah, she is. Miso is fantastic.
Miso's great.
12 p.m. and going to midnight at Sunday, you have Wino doing his game show. His game shows are amazing.
Hilarious.
He puts so much effort into it.
He does.
2 a.m. to 8 a.m. Again, we have a little bit of space there. 10 a.m. we have Jet the Weed Man doing a D&D campaign.
Nice.
12 p.m. is Elva Lupo, one of our friends in the UK spot. She's going to be there. Gaming Grammy, she'll be there at 2 p.m. And then at 4 p.m. to round it out before we get into Drag's 6 p.m. is Hannah Electra, a new friend of Black Collar. She is super amazing. So a lot of wonderful content creators, a lot of great streamers, they're doing cooking, and it's going to be a little bit of everything. We have a game show, cooking, we have music, we have interviews. Like, it's not just gaming. There's going to be something for everybody. And we heavily, just encourage everybody to come out, try to help some great money and awareness for AIM youth mental health. It would mean the world to all of us.
And for people that are watching, I know also that there are a lot of people are donating items for giveaways, and a lot of individual streamers will have giveaways. I know Drag's going to be doing some stuff as well on the final hour, so make sure to join Drag Vega at the end of that as well. So we won't say details. You'll just have to watch the show, get in on the show, and watch the show and listen to the streamers. And who knows? I know that there have been times in the past where some people are like, I'm just spur of the moment. They're like, I'm going to give away this thing right now to people who, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, hold on, we didn't know.
Yeah,
it's like, well, donate, get in there and donate. You don't know who's going to give away what.
During one of our Datcom days, I actually raffled off one of my guitars. So that was a fun time.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I have the list of things that we can raffle off. We'll keep it a secret.
Yeah, waffle off. I've been told it's waffling.
Waffle off.
Waffling.
Yes, we're not using the word raffle because social media doesn't like the word raffle because it is pertaining to gambling. So we've changed it to waffle. We're waffle.
So if you see waffle, they're not actually cooking waffles, people. I messaged Wino. I was like, just so you know, you should do something so they know that you're actually like not giving away waffles, because I'm hungry right now, and people don't know. If they don't know, they don't know. Let them know.
I hope one of the things that we waffle off is like a $25 gift card to Waffle House.
Thank you, Sunstrider.
Okay.
We'll listen to Bacon Pancakes.
Making bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes, bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes, bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes.
Thank you for playing the little Burby Bacon Pancakes.
Bacon pancakes.
It's like kind of like the chimichangas for Deadpool, but it's bacon pancakes.
Every time I hear bacon pancakes, I think of Adventure Time.
Yeah, that's what it's from. Yeah,
is it? That's what I figured. I was like, I was expecting that when I saw it. I was like, let's go.
Yeah, it's the bird. So they take the making pancakes like rap song that they did for Adventure Time, but the bird likes the song and sings the making pancakes, making bacon pancakes. So the lady says it, and the little bird, his little feet start dancing when she sings it, and he only does it when she sings it. Wow. And then when she stops, he starts going bacon, 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 bacon.
I love birds, dude. Birds are so smart, so cool. Would I ever want to own one? Probably not. But I love the videos of them. They
Lots
go
of
to TikTok.
fun.
Bird
Lots of
stuff.
fun. Do we have a black collar community member that is live right now that you can see?
Let's take a look. We have Jet the Weedman. We have Wino. Wino is a huge purport. I want to give him as much love as possible. Wino is doing a lot of work to help get this up and running and make sure that it's running really smoothly. I would say if we can raid somebody, Wino is a good place to go.
I love Wino. Wino's kind of my go-to person because I knew Wino first. I met Wino because he came to me to join the Movember team. And then he asked me to come and do the black collar thing, and I was all in, and I've been all in ever since. And so he's kind of been my go-to for all of the black collar stuff because I've known him the longest and the most and had the most interaction with him. So anytime I'm like black collar thing, I just contact Wino. He's my dude. So
and it's a good contact to have. He's out of all of us, especially Drag. I'm a good one too, but Wino, he knows all the goings on. So,
so we're gonna go and we're gonna raid on over to the one, the only Wino. He is also doing retro games. He's playing Super Cake Boy right now. Super Cake Boy. So we're going to go and join the Wino. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you all for hanging out. Join us for the AIM Youth Mental Health Charity for all of those times on the 25th, 26th, and 27th that we talked about. Also, I will be back tomorrow for some video gaming at noon Central. Namven, when are you streaming again?
I will be streaming tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be playing some Suikoden 2. So we talked a lot about JRPGs. If you're into JRPGs and cozy times, come on in. I'd love to have you.
There we go. We're going to raid on out. Thank you guys so much for being here. And of course, my raid command doesn't like the @ There we go.
No.
Guys, when we raid, you can use my raid emotes, your raid emotes, anybody's raid emotes. Use Namvens, use Winos, use whoever. Just say something. Use the text, chat, say hello, say you're coming in with the raid, represent, say hello to Wino, and give Wino a chance to earn your love and affection. For Namven, I am Nick, and thank you all for hanging out here for Off the Pod. See y'all later.